So many chickens.
Okay. They should have this morning.
This is public information.
He called me 5 seconds before I walked in the door. He said, "Oh, did you bring that out?" I'm like, "I'm here." Yeah, I said, "Tell me, bring it."
This is one of
He told me
the
5 seconds, and I'm like, "Too late. I'm not going back. Sorry." Okay, guys. All right, before we.
Gloria is not coming. It's her birthday today, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we just want to let everyone know that this is being recorded. If there's anything that's being said, it could be for at a later date.
Okay, I just want to make a statement at the beginning. I got this this email from Lucy. She can't attend the meeting, and Jeff Sanoff will be representing me at this meeting. Thank you.
So.
Is that right?
You added one there.
Hi, Mary.
Peace.
Yeah.
Give me.
And I go.
All right, Mary, it's all yours.
Thank you. All right. As everybody knows, we're gonna be discussing the city of Yes,
Yes.
right? And what I'm proposing to do is go down one by one, hear what people's comments are, and then get a sense of, are we in favor of this one or against it? Remember, this is the proposal one at a time. Then we'll keep score of how many we're in favor of, how many we're against, and what we feel could possibly change the ones that we're definitely against. And ones that we have no comment on. For instance, the one with the loading docks, we have no comments on.
I do.
Oh.
All right. I said, no, we're not up to 4. I said,
Okay, question. So let me ask you a question. Are you proposing that this committee will be voting for each and every
no,
proposal
I said a
separate?
consensus. We can just look and say what people think. Not a motion, not, right? In other
So
words,
what would be the motion?
it wouldn't be a motion. The motion would be all 18 of them, how we
Okay,
feel
together.
about 6 together.
As one package.
Yeah, okay.
It's one package, but we can say the ones that we definitely are against, one package, but we don't want to talk about number 1. We have no interest in number 1. We have no interest for number 17, whatever. Okay,
We cannot say it unfortunately, because we have no interest in number 1 and number 17 as of today. Because of the current zoning of each and every street in a vicinity of Community Ward 13. But when city comes with proposal, and I believe we were told before that the last changes city made 40 or whatever years ago. So if we have nothing to say about number 1 or number 17, it's as of now. City might change zoning as we speak, because more proposals are coming. So let's talk about each and every one. It's loaded.
I just used 17 as the number. I think why not pick 21 and have Michael frantically look for it? All right, number 1, reactivate storefronts. Okay, we have something very nice from Craig, basically. It does not significantly impact Brooklyn. We do have empty storefronts. But what they're proposing is giving business owners a clear definition of where and what they can do in a space. Which means what? There's exact words. All right, does anybody have anything else? to
You're
say
talking about number 1?
I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
talking about reactivation. So as of now, in certain zonings, if property if property is vacant for 2 years, it's a special procedure to reactivate it as a commercial property. They're proposing to get rid of it. Okay, which is fine.
that's fine.
Yeah, which is fine.
Okay, everybody's fine. Is anybody not fine? I can't tell. I just see your
I don't
eyes.
understand what I mean by reaction.
Blink once for you.
Okay, now,
What do you mean by reaction?
okay, I'll tell you. Now,
That's a two-
in certain zoning, and we see Matt from city planning, correct me if I'm wrong. In certain zoning, I believe it's C4 and up or C whatever and up. If commercial property is empty for 2 years, there is a special procedure to activate it, reactivate it as a commercial. So now if you have some box store commercial property empty for 2 and up years, you just can rent it and open a business. So fine with me. I mean,
Fine, all right. The second one is simplify district types. And what they're talking about is currently reduce zoning from 1961 to clear up. I can't believe that was the last time they ever did anything.
okay.
Because they did it, they visit us every year.
Yeah. This would allow for vacant spaces to be more easily activated.
Okay, this is just big words, very nice big words. It meaning that different types of businesses would be allowed in current zones, okay? Meaning that from one side, it might sound great, but from the other side, again, do we need any changes? Yes, we do. Do we have to revisit use group? Absolutely. Do we have to revisit some requirements? Absolutely. But we got some kind of product. It reminds me Russian salad with all different ingredients, covered by nice mayonnaise, and eat it. Okay. So if we are talking about bringing some parts of the proposal, like let's say we have whatever is allowed in C1, restaurants and bar, let's allow dancing. Fine with me, because people are already dancing there. So we just legalize what was illegal. But what is not fine with me, because each and every proposal pertaining to bringing different type of businesses and some other stuff, we are missing very important point: enforcement. You can, I mean, you just enter the door of community board 13. How many times people from this building, from next door building complain? How many times, I would like to remind you, we said it's going to be enforcement. Who remember how many years this community board had to deal with furniture store?
Oh, God, yes.
Really? And it was DRB. It was DRB that we have in parentheses. How many times? How many years? Okay. How many
At
years?
least
To
2007, more,
Okay.
more.
So again, you can talk about any kind of proposals you want. I believe something should be done. I believe use groups should be updated. I believe some restrictions should be lifted. I believe some changes should be made, because you cannot compare what type of businesses we had 60 years ago or 40 years ago and we have now. But first and foremost, you cannot put carriage before the horse. So it should be some kind of specs, it's some kind of plan for, how you call it, for enforcement, for regulations, and on and on. That's the only I want to
I
say.
just want to piggyback on what Yelena said,
That,
that,
Excuse
One at a
me.
time.
Pat,
just-
This is not gonna be a crazy meeting. Jeff, then you, okay?
okay,
Thank you.
I just want to piggyback on what Yelena said. The city is in a very bad financial straits. They're cutting every agency from DOB to DOH to DEP to CP, the city planning.
And every other.
Every other
letter of the
one.
alphabet.
So,
Yeah.
so as far as enforcement, they don't even have the resources now to enforce the laws that are current. So we'll be adding more businesses, and who's gonna be enforcing those laws. It's an impossibility. You're not gonna have a super agency. It's not gonna happen.
They're trying to create one
Yeah.
board.
That's what I have to say.
On the same subject, Jeff, on this. I have a problem in my building, it's residential. They're changing all of the fire doors in my apartment house, 6th floor building. And what are they putting in? Wood doors with wood framing, which is completely crazy.
I don't think that's legal.
I'm just saying, there's no enforcement.
Is this for the exit doors?
Huh?
Is this for the exit doors on the
On
apartment?
the floors.
On the
Keep
floor.
the fire back for 2 hours.
Fire door.
No.
They're taking out the
Mhm.
Fire
doors,
doors.
which were metal, and they put in like a wood frame. We watched it, we took pictures. The point is, we called it buildings, my daughter and I. And we said, do you see what they're doing in this building? Are you looking at it? He says, so the guy comes up, the inspector, and he says, they have permits. I said, we're not questioning the permit, we're questioning what they're using for material. You're making it into a fire trap? There's 96 units in this building, and you're allowing them to take out perfectly fine fire doors. They don't enforce. I'm
All right, question, do you have a fire escape?
I'm just saying that
Do you have a fire
Do you have a
escape?
fire escape on your building?
on our apartments,
You have a fire escape.
right?
So then the door only has to be graded for 2 hours, because it's not a fireproof building. If it was a fireproof building, then it would have to be the steel.
They want to be able to close one.
Yeah, but that's something totally different.
Because you have.
Them putting wood in, doesn't make that much of a difference.
Okay.
He's answering.
We're talking about proposal number
Crazy,
2.
but I just saying to you, all these changes, who's gonna, you just pointed out, but who's gonna enforce?
Also,
Look into all this.
also, it's auto shops, bringing auto shops. The reason I brought up fight with the illegal furniture store, because we were told, correct me if I'm wrong, that auto shops gonna be, in order to bring auto shop light, whatever, it would be special procedure, BSA and community board approval, okay? And,
Can I?
not for what?
All right,
Talking about.
listen, can we?
We are talking about
All right.
proposal two, okay?
Yeah, all right, we're talking about proposal 2,
To
which
bring
wants
extra-
to simplify rules for business types allowed on commercial
So
streets.
it's auto shops.
Right, but they didn't specifically talk about it in everything I everything I read.
Okay, but
They
if you,
talk about billiard parlors, they talk about art studios, they talk about.
Okay, but we
Dance
had-
studios, clothing rental establishments.
but when we spoke during working committee meeting about it, and you see, actually, by the way, I did not respond except to one short line. Gabriel, you did a great job, okay? It says on page 2, we were talking about auto shops. It's part of it.
That's proposal 13.
That's 13 proposals.
It's different
Yes, I-
part of it.
All right. Obviously, we didn't read the whole text amendment, which from what I understand is 1,700 pages. And the only person I know who bothered to read it was Teresa Gallo, and I did not read it. I've read abbreviated versions, I've read discussion versions. Does anybody have anything else about simplifying district types? I-
If I may?
I do.
Okay.
Angela said first.
I was trying to raise my hand. Sorry. So I want to say that this simplification is a local retail. That's what we have right now on Mermaid Avenue, Brighton Beach Avenue. Now, C2 is a local businesses, local services. So C2 is Surf Avenue. But this only the top of the iceberg, because we're saying combining, we're upzoning, we're not simplifying, we're going upzoning. So we bring in like AC repairs, we're bringing pawn shops, we're bringing all the services into C1. It will modify our community. It will change our neighborhood, a big deal. I think also hotels, but later on, when you go in, they bring in manufacturing into C2. So it's only beginning of the story. You need to read to very end to understand how damaging it can be.
It's all,
I wanna
some of
say
them are
that-
connected.
All
That's
right.
what we're trying to say.
I understand that, but let's
Okay,
briefly, all right? So C2, we're gonna look for other things and we're not gonna decide anything right now. Number two, okay?
More rewriting the use group.
Excuse me,
It's more of the rewriting of the use groups as opposed to.
they talk about that later on too.
I
You're right.
understand that, but that's the biggest thing. That's the, you zone for one thing, but if you don't have the right use group, then you can't do what you need to do.
Someone has a
Okay.
hand up?
Yes, Matt.
Hi, everyone. If it's helpful to help clarify these different proposals, what's under consideration for proposal 2 is what Angela said, where today Mermaid Avenue and Brighton Beach Avenue, that's a C1 district. Surf Avenue is a C2 district. I would ask you all to think about the proposal in isolation. She mentioned manufacturing, that's proposal 3, but for proposal 2, it would be allowing the same mix of businesses that are currently along Surf Avenue to also locate along Mermaid Avenue and Brighton Beach Avenue. And I just wanted to help clarify that. As Yelena was pointing out, there's also an auto repair component to this. We're talking about that in proposal 13. So if you don't like the auto repair portion, I would suggest leaving that discussion to proposal 13. If you want to talk about the manufacturing, I would suggest leaving that to proposal 3. And modernizing use groups is proposal 6. I will note that proposal 6 does not make any changes to where any business can locate. It is solely about updating the terms of the businesses themselves. I hope that helps.
thank you, it helps. And I believe as someone who's working on this proposal and with this particular community board, I believe you walk on Brighton Beach Avenue, Mermaid Avenue, and Surf Avenue. So I believe anybody who walks on those avenues, on those streets, realize how different they are, okay? If you look at Surf Avenue, not each and every block of Surf Avenue, it's only attached buildings. If we are talking about Brighton, for example, each and every block is attached business. Each and every block, we are talking about old buildings, built years ago. So as I said before, I understand city cannot work on each and every street, but this kind of unified citywide proposal, in my opinion, I'm not trying to make anybody to repeat after me. In my opinion, it's not even suitable for the area. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
Place traffic cop too with this.
excuse me, Pat,
I'm sorry,
second time.
Talk about in general.
No, we're not yet.
We're not talking
Mary wants
about,
to go one by
I
one.
want to go one by one.
Okay, let's
Develop some sort of consensus on it, what we're objecting to, right? And then summarize it.
Okay, understand it. In Brighton.
I don't think we're gonna understand it. We're gonna have to memorize 1,700 pages. And I think.
I can volunteer on Monday if you want.
Just Monday?
No, you come to me or she comes to, and I come to her. We are neighbors, okay?
Yeah, I know.
Tuesday, okay. I can volunteer.
All right, so overall, what's the consensus for 2? Or we want to wait until we get through and see how they will play against each other?
That's right.
All right, if something actually
Fair,
hits you
it's fair.
that it's totally no good or it's wonderful.
Listen, to me, it's totally no good because it's like when you have to read a bad book and it's bad from the preamble and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So that's my opinion. But
Then you
once
stop.
again, yeah,
Then you
and you
stop.
stop,
Right, well, we got 18 of them.
Good.
And we don't want to just tell them whatever you want to tell them.
And also I believe it's committee members and we have more time and I believe more knowledge than average board members. So I believe it's our responsibilities to go one by one.
And just present it to
explain-
them and
present
see
it.
what they say.
Yeah, and tell them,
This is what we,
the
all
full
right,
board.
so we're leaving that for a while, all right? Yes,
If I may, it sounds like there's nobody here speaking in favor of keeping proposal number 2 the way it is. So, would it be safe to say that there's a consensus that this group objects to what's being proposed by the Department of City Planning? Because you could just write down, we object to proposal 2 and move on to proposal 3.
How does anybody have any problem with that?
No.
Any voting people have any problem with that? Okay,
do.
so we're rejecting it. Thank you. 3, small scale production.
In C1, C2.
C1, C2, here we go. again. C1, C2.
Here and here, that's what I meant. It's getting worse and worse.
It become as of right. This is absolutely insane. What did they say about 3? Expand opportunities for small scale clean production.
What is the definition?
Like
Clean production.
microbreweries, okay, like some cultivate tomatoes and that's the small scale production.
No, he said clean.
What does it mean by clean?
Okay,
The zoning resolution currently limits many productions to M. However, notable exceptions exist, right? Hybrid business common at the time of the adoption in 1961. For a commercial district, printing shops are permitted in C2, C4, C6, and custom manufacturing of books, ceramics, clothing, hair products, jewelry, medical or dental instrument, musical instruments, blah, 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 blah. However, the commercial district allowances for production activities are limited by their specificity and prelude many kinds of production activities. All right, desirable uses to be included could be 3D printing, woodworking shops, and small-scale food and beverage manufacturing such as microbreweries. Don't we already have a microbrewery on, sir? Yes. They close. Coffee roaster. Additionally,
They extended it.
Well, they gotta finish the production, man.
okay, all right, and they also the current zoning restricts some production uses such as a small baking area in a bakery.
okay. We have bakeries,
We
okay?
have bakeries that bake there.
Yeah, we have bakeries. It's a new, I believe it's a German technology. They get something from Germany, machines and some dough. I don't know, they're doing something in each and every store. I see it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay. In each and every store. But again, the list to me, and definition, it's kind of, we're entering gray area, okay? Because 3D printing, okay, if it's a small business with one machine, fine with me, you know. But if you are talking about, let's not forget about square footage, okay? Let's not forget about square footage, okay? So, I don't know. I still believe that, bringing businesses that, traditionally do not belong to neighborhood commercial corridors, those kind of production businesses, really not a good idea. Because if you have clients should come, you have some deliveries, you have this, you have that. I don't know if we can have more deliveries and more trucks on Brighton. It's a constant double, triple parking with no enforcement.
Well, we already know that the police got
It's not about police.
no,
We
but there's
have
no
traffic.
enforcement.
We have traffic
There's no
department.
police, so
So my question is, right now, there are bakeries who bake on site.
Yes,
There are
inside the stores.
makers that
We don't
Bill-
have cabinet makers.
maybe you don't, I have on Harway. Harway is part of this district.
Yeah, but what is the zoning for Harvey?
It's a M1,
Is it M1? It is M1.
Here you
Harway.
go.
That's
There you go. All right, so they can have it. Yeah, Angela.
Can I add something about this proposal? As we said, every neighborhood is unique. Uniqueness our neighborhood, that during the summer months, we have 12 million tourists coming in. And not all of them using public transport. It's a lot of traffic. So we can afford to put manufacturing on our street, which will be already overloaded with local residents who will try to survive the summer months, plus the tourist area. We have a food industry, we have groceries, great. Why do we need to bring 3D printing? If there is a need, let's community board it. I'm against to give it as a right to open up for manufacturing our streets.
Can I just
I
say,
see, wait, I see Pat then Jeff.
I'm after Jeff.
She's,
First,
You say something?
as someone who has
I'm sorry.
experience with,
apologize.
right to know environmental standards, because I've had to fill out the paperwork for a business that were, the right to know law applied. First of all, the forms are incredibly, I'm an organic chemist, and I had a tough time filling out the form, the technical, okay, that's number one. Number two, depending on how you fill out the form and how clever you are about portraying your business, it could just be a thing of, oh, you fill out the form and you mail in your check, or gee whiz, if you really fill out this form accurately, in order to comply, you have to hire an architect and you have to put in a separate drainage system and a separate plumbing system. So if you're the small business owner, how are you going to fill out the form? Are you going to fill out the form that, well, I just fill it out and hand in my check? Or am I going to fill it out that, well, I need to really put in a special drainage system here? So there's a lot of leeway here, and a lot of these so-called uses are in fact, they smell. Okay, there's noisy, and again, there's no enforcement. I don't ever remember anybody coming into us to see if we were complying and if what we had filled out the form complied with what we did. So again, there's a lot of, I've seen restaurants on a busy, I've seen chain restaurants on a busy shopping strip that are supposed to have their grease traps professionally cleaned out. And I've seen them drag out the grease and dump it down the storm drain because they don't want to pay for the service. So again,
I can give you address.
All right. Eddie goes, oh,
you don't have enforcement now, and you're putting
Matt?
more situations. They're gonna need enforcement, and there is no enforcement, so it's just a free-for-all.
Matt wants to say something. I think it's Matt or Amelia.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if it's helpful to clarify what the zoning would require, to your point about the right to know paperwork, if you have to fill out that paperwork, you're not allowed to locate in commercial districts, period. So there's no filling it out creatively or not. If you are required to fill it out, you're not allowed to locate. That's on the right to know side. And then on the air quality side, there are city and state rules around air quality emissions. If you, as part of the process of setting up your business, are going to be meeting those air quality emissions thresholds, again, you are not allowed to locate in commercial districts. So both on the potentially hazardous materials side and on the air quality side, it's not enforcement so much as it is if you have to do these processes, you're not allowed to locate at all. And then beyond that, you are required to make sure that your venting, if you are going to locate, your venting has to go above any nearby building. And that's built into the zoning, and it's something that's very clear for the Department of Buildings. If they are going to issue a certificate of occupancy, that building would have to meet that venting standard before they can even begin operating. So as much as we can with this proposal, we've tried to build in the zoning so that the safeguards are in place before they begin operation.
And who's going to enforce this? And Department of Buildings comes down and they say, no, you can't have a C of O. And the store is open anyways. And all they get is a lien against their property, which they'll pay when they sell the building in 30 years. Am I wrong? Does anybody here know of a building that was shut down because they didn't have, they weren't in the wrong zone. I mean, we've gone through this here in Coney Island for 10 years with a store, with businesses here that didn't meet the zoning. And they're still there.
Matt? Or?
Yeah, he's done.
He's
Man,
done.
He's done.
Okay.
He's not answering her.
This is
Michael.
basically in my wheelhouse, because I had a printing shop. Okay, and I had various complaints of my next door neighbor who owned the real estate agency there. And I had to seal up the entire building, because when it was built, there were openings that were adjacent to it. Not only that, I had to put in, like Michael said, a filtration, or Matt said, a filtration system that costs thousands of dollars. So the investment is high, okay? And if they go with the modern type of technology, you still need printing inks. And I was a green printer. I even used paper to pack up orders. And I had to have the eye to know, the need to know rather. Okay, and DEP came in with their badges, and I had to fill out the formulas, the type of stuff I was using. I used maybe a gallon or two a year, and it still cost me a few $100s. So, you know, it's not that easy with this here, and not having a printing shop next door. You get deliveries with paper, with skids and things like that.
Okay,
Michael
Michael wants to say something. Michael?
Like we did the argument we had last week, everyone, this is a city text amendment. This is proposed, has to go before 54 or whatever number of community boards,
59.
59 community boards,
And then the council.
and then the council, and then the mayor. Okay,
No, the
so,
borough president.
and there is a long list.
Everybody in between.
Change.
So
Right, and we're advisory.
we're advisory. I admit we should all discuss this, but let's not kill ourselves. Let's not get deep into the roots here.
Well, I think some people are very sensitive about some of this.
I understand that, and I'm not dismissing anything, but we could, as we did with last week's text amendment, as we did with that. And some people have opinions, some people have other opinions, and it goes across the whole city. And this is something that the city, we have to just put our best foot forward. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, if I may, before you came, Mary, and before Samchi came, we had a discussion, and I said it to Angela and to Jeff many times. Some people read all of this. Some people read half of it. Some people read summaries. I read summaries for each and every proposal, okay? I attended some meetings. We can have and I believe all of us as a committee members, all of us, we have an idea what it's all about.
Mhm.
Somebody who I know call it city of no. Not city of yes, city of no. I agree with the person, okay? I agree with the person. So I understand what Michael is trying to say. And from one side, he's right. Because it's 20 to 8. And if we are discussing, or we are not discussing.
Mhm.
So like we were discussing proposal number 2. And okay, and you said, we said no, but actually proposal number 2, it's connected with proposal number 9, 13, and on. So I don't know if we have to go one by one, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's up to the co-chairs to decide, or we have to talk about the overall impact of such proposal to our area. So it's up to you to decide. But we have to come to conclusion. And reason we have to come to conclusion, because we should be able to sit down with our city council representatives who are going to modify this proposal, regardless what we're gonna write. I can remind you about 3 URLAPs within last 5 years And community board said no, but it did not stop local councilman from bringing it to city hall and ask his colleagues to, or his whatever colleagues to vote yes. So we have to, first and foremost, we have to be able to explain to our peers in community board, all of members who should vote for it on January 24th, and explain what it's all about. Is it good for community? Is it bad for community? And we have to work on some in-house recommendation to make sure that our local representatives, I'm talking about two council members, Ina Vernikov and Justin Brennan, they're gonna work on modification the way community want, because I'm expecting even bigger storm from Community Board 15. I don't see Teresa, you know, if she reads all of those pages, okay? I've heard comments from Bay Ridge, so now it's the same district for Justin Brennan. Maybe we can organize some Zoom between 3 different community boards and, you know, exchange some ideas like we did for Casino and on, okay? But first and foremost, you know, we can go not even by one proposal by one, we can go by line and count
All right.
commas, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, the reason I thought, look, I don't know how many people, 1 second, I don't know how many people have actually gone through 18. All right, I've gone through them twice and I did, yeah, right, I leave notes. Right, but I don't know, and trying to get it across to the rest of our members.
Okay, let's say Michael
All
did
right,
not.
if somebody wants to. say-
Michael did not read all 18 of them, okay? For example, he did not read all 18 of them. So he had a long day. I believe he's coming from work,
Mhm.
correct? So what are we trying to do? Within 1 hour or so, explain to Michael, who apparently did not read it, what it's all about.
No, what we're gonna do is come up with like a cheat sheet.
Okay.
And we'll present it. We are in support of number 1 because we think giving business owners a clear definition of what they can and cannot do is a good idea.
No, it's not about it. It's about completely different issue.
All right, move it.
Let's move.
I just want one sentence. I just want to add one sentence about this work that we're doing. A team of professionals was working for 2 years on this. It's very hard. It's a big expectation from us to digest it in like 30 days and present it in 1 hour and give our opinion. It's really hard. So
Welcome to city government.
It's called politics.
right. So
It's
let's
city
do-
government.
Let's do our best and as much as we understand and how we feel about it, because there is no way we can go on through this
No, we
and
can't.
explain to everyone else what is it about and to be objective about it. It's really hard. It's a big job.
Now, that was.
You know, he took his hand down.
No, but, yeah. Matt, did you want to talk?
Yeah, I just wanted to, sorry, I just wanted to say how much I value and appreciate the work that you all are doing on this. We know it's a lot, we know it's complicated, and you all are volunteers. And we really appreciate any feedback, any recommendations you can provide for us. It's a really important, as Michael was saying, a really important part of the process, not just for us and the modifications we might make at the City Planning Commission, but the modifications that your council members will make later on in the process. And so I just want to emphasize how important this is and how much we value your time and your recommendations this evening, and that both myself and Amelia are here for any questions you have on the proposals themselves. And so I just wanted to thank you all. I know it's a lot.
I agree with you. Do we have any decision about number 3 at all?
No,
No?
no.
Oh, you reject it. Okay, we're not happy. Number 4, you said you had.
Wait, I have a question. Does not having an opinion mean you object and you don't like it?
No,
Across the
we
board?
have an opinion.
We have an
Well, then-
opinion. We have an opinion on three,
That's good. This one.
And that is,
that we don't agree it's a good idea.
Oh, we can explain why we don't agree in the letter.
But in the letter, we can explain the letter,
okay.
and we should explain in the letter.
Letter.
It was rejected
And-
because.
Barbara, you got the reason?
Yeah.
Do I got the reason?
The reason that we're
No.
rejecting it.
This meeting's being taped, so
Yes,
there's a record.
you always go back.
And that's what I do anyway, to get the exact.
Okay. Number 4, loading docks. I know you said that it does affect you.
Okay, wait,
But-
it's not in Seagate. I said it might affect everybody in the future when zoning is being changed.
But we're supposed to
But,
direct this to
okay,
city
but
13.
let me ask someone who I believe knows, no, I'm talking about committee members. Michael, what do you want to say about loading docks?
So loading docks is a very hard thing, because you have to have the driveway, you have to have this, it's.
So they,
Modernized loading dock, it's not as simple as, over an adapted period of time, it's not that simple. That's a zoning, that's a building, you want to cross many agencies there. Okay, if you go with the older zoning rules, I believe, from where the way I deal with it, just leave it as it is. Don't change
No
it,
change.
no
No
change.
change.
That's what, my personal opinion. It's to change loading docks.
wait,
You'd have to add alleys behind every commercial building. You would have to have alleys behind like a second easeway. Behind every commercial building where a truck can go up, a car or some can load in and out. Is that, the word dock is a big word as opposed to an entrance or a door or an easement.
okay, I wanna ask Matt a question because I might have not really good memory anymore. But I remember when we had this working group meeting last week, you did explain something about this loading dock, saying it would simplify the rules, not complicate the rules, but simplify the rules. Am I right or am I?
Unfortunately, you're mistaken. So what the proposal is actually what Michael is describing he'd like to see, which is no change. So currently, the zoning requires you to add additional loading docks when there's a change of use in the building, if the building is big enough to trigger that additional loading dock. What we're proposing is that for existing buildings that would otherwise require additional loading, that we would not require them to add that additional loading and have it be based on the needs of the business that's trying to enter that empty space.
So then leave it as.
So we
Leave it as is.
Yeah, leave it as.
All right, so that's 4.
Does that mean support number 4, proposal 4?
No, that means
Leave it all.
leave it alone.
No, I mean, it's a good, if it's really simple, to me, this is what I meant by simplifying, not giving extra, not bringing extra burden to the, business homeowners and anyone. That's what I meant. You're not making more complicated than it is right now. So actually, Yeah.
It's an extra regulation.
yeah,
If you're gonna increase your business, where you're gonna, if let's say it's an empty store. And you wanna do something, some type of trucking. The big thing now is Amazon. We don't have it around here. You go in South Brooklyn,
Right.
go along Third Avenue, you go in the Bronx and Hunts Point, you go Queens.
And Red Hook.
Everywhere they're building these huge, they're just transfer buildings, that's all they are. They bring trailers in, they have to unload, then they go into the smaller vans and then they spread it out. That's when the loading dock question comes into effect. But, as far as our community, it's not gonna affect us.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
No, because he knows and I don't,
He knows, yeah.
It's gonna be eliminated.
yeah.
We're just object, there's no reason to change it.
Right.
Right.
That's not. But that seems to defy what was just said. If Michael
No.
wants to see it changed so that you don't have to add loading zones because the building use is gonna change or expand. And city planning is proposing to do that, then you do
No.
want to support what city planning is proposing to do. If you say that you want to leave things as they are, then they're gonna stay as complicated as they are right now and force you to continue to add loading zones.
But it's gonna,
In our zoning out, the point I'm
it's not
getting,
affecting
in
us.
our zone, we're talking about community board 13.
Right. It
There's
doesn't
no
affect-
space big enough
That's
for
right.
them to put a distribution center.
Then
So it's irrelevant, okay.
It
Yeah.
doesn't apply.
To weigh in here, I think Michael's right. There are very few examples of where you have because this only applies to existing buildings. New construction, you still have to add loadings. So if there's a new warehouse, they still have to add loading appropriate to what a warehouse would be. This is only applying to existing buildings, and it only applies to large existing buildings. And so there aren't too many of those in Community District 13. And I would agree with Michael that the applicability of this proposal is very limited.
Thank you, Matt. Michael Silverman, not Michael.
Then the answer actually is, we're not commenting on it. Okay, which says, we're not saying that it's a bad idea. We're not saying it's a good idea. We have no argument.
So that's what we said, no comment.
No comment, no change.
No comment.
That's how I think we have
Yeah.
to explain it to our fellow members.
We're gonna explain it to them that we're very happy as the way it exists right now.
No.
No, that's not, no comment, it does not apply, it does not apply to our area.
That's what I said,
Yeah, you're right.
what, half hour ago? No, 50 minutes ago, yes, right, next.
Okay.
Number 5. Upper floor commercial.
What do you mean doesn't apply? Allow commercial uses on the second floor of a
Enable
residential
commercial
building
activity.
in commercial districts.
In zone, it's already in, we spoke about.
No, it's not, it's no, it's not. Okay, I believe it should, the definition, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You have a mixed-use building on Brighton Beach Avenue and Mermaid Avenue. It's R6, R4, R5, whatever, with C1 overlay, correct? Correct. So according to current zoning, only commercial activities on the first floor are permitted. In the same time, we have many businesses on the second floor, okay? On the second floor, we have beauty salons on the second floor. We have some dance studios on the second floor, art school, and on and on and on and on. I'm not talking about legality right now. But it's only in mixed-use buildings, in mixed-use zones. So by saying it's residential, okay, so why are you using residential instead of mixed use?
There is no residential, it's only city district.
Okay.
Enable commercial activity.
Residential and commercial.
In all commercial districts. In a residential build, okay, in a residential buildings. So meaning residential building, okay, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So to me, residential building, it's a building around the corner with no commercial component on the first floor. But it's still, because it's 100 feet from the corner or whatever, it's still commercial, okay? So you telling me that in this building we can put commercial activity on the second floor?
And Mark Anson?
Hi, everyone. If I might clarify for this proposal, so within the flood zone, which is the majority of Community District 13, you already allow much of what this proposal would allow, in that you can have businesses on both the first and second floors. Within a commercial zone, so a commercial overlay, you can have businesses on the first or second floor. What this proposal would allow in Community District 13 is in places where you are allowed to have either a business or a residence on the second floor. This could potentially allow you to have both on the second floor, but only if they have completely separated access from the ground level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so instead,
Yeah.
that's what we see now.
Okay.
But people still getting fines if in some, okay, whatever, I understand.
Well, so if you're seeing it now, it's not allowed, but this would allow it.
This would allow them to have separate access to the second floor.
That's right.
So let's say for argument's sake, my doctor is on the second floor of my building and the
Mhm.
doctor decides he's had it, whatever, he moves out. All right, and
Now
a
you can,
commercial,
yeah, now you can have a flower shop upstairs.
we can
Yeah.
have or a nail salon, or
Or a barber shop.
a
Right.
barber shop.
And because you're in the flood zone, that's already allowed. You could have a flower shop or a barber shop on the second floor. The additional thing that this zoning proposal could allow is if your doctor's office wanted to split down the middle and say half of it becomes offices and half of it becomes a new apartment, they could do that now. But they could only do that if they have separate stairways up or elevators up to each part of the residential and the non-residential. So it gives that second floor more flexibility.
Question, one more question. If we go back to proposal number 2, when you are saying that you are allowing different types of businesses on C1 and C2, would it be the same type of businesses allowed on the second floor in C1 and C2?
Yes, it would.
Like, and on and on and on and on, or whatever, light manufacturing.
Woodworking. I like
Yes.
woodworking.
And any commercial use that would be allowed on the ground floor would be allowed on the second floor.
Okay, that's why I'm saying that
So I'd have a
it's all of those
woodworking shop in the building.
proposals are,
Connect.
they're all connected. That's why I'm saying. they're
They
connected.
have to be
I-
ADA.
They would have to be ADA. That's right.
That's the whole thing. So either you gotta put a chairlift in or you gotta put an elevator in.
So it probably would not happen very often, even though it would be allowed. It might happen under a new construction building.
That's my,
Okay. So do we have an opinion on this aside from it's connected to 2?
That's because it's connected.
Yeah.
What? For example, is very questionable because if, again, I'm for businesses to be allowed in the second floor, even though they're allowed right now in our area. I mean, look
See,
at
that's it,
Brighton,
they're
yeah,
allowed now.
yeah, but what I'm against is the types of businesses allowed,
Which is.
which is going back to, you know.
Number 2.
That's a
Yeah,
different
Right,
proposal.
the nail salon.
No, nail salon is fine with me. What is not fine with me, some printing, some alteration, some this. You have,
Which goes back to number 2. When
yeah, which is going
Yeah.
back to number
When
2.
they simplified and they put all together in one
Yeah.
bag.
I have a question.
Has like smells like like chemicals, like washing
Number
it.
2.
If you have a resident next
Can
door,
you have an extra mask?
how would they deal with that?
Yeah, I'll fit
In the front.
You must me.
Pat, no, Pat,
You can ask me.
everybody else is like trying really hard to keep this organized, and I'm sorry. No, I was joking about it.
I wouldn't want a nail salon next door to my house.
Right,
or a purple.
They're toxic.
That's one.
Open in next.
If-
That would be so.
to do.
Until we get to home-based businesses. Wait.
Yeah, right, we gotta get there though.
Question on if a cannabis dispensary is on the first floor and he wants to expand his business on the second floor,
Esma, I have
is
no.
that good?
Yes.
Matt?
Probably, but they could also do that today, I have to say. Nothing we're introducing as part of these zoning proposals would newly allow what you're describing. So it's allowed today.
It's like selling illegal cannabis. They're not allowed, so they don't sell.
Yeah, like Angela is right. It's like
I-
illegal.
I was referring to a licensed cannabis dispensary would be allowed on the ground floor or the second floor today.
Yeah, license they be allowed, okay. But before they realize it's a license or not, we can
And then
all,
the smokers, the whole building would be
yeah,
high. Okay,
no.
what are we saying about
High all
number
the
5?
It's up to you.
Walk down
It's
Sheep
confusing
Shed.
to me. We're still up to number 5. Do we
No,
have an
these are-
opinion? Do we say no? Do we say yes?
It sounds like if the uses themselves are allowed and number 5 would require a separation between the residential and the commercial.
Right.
And that since we're in a floodplain, they can work on the second floor now. I don't see a downside to number 5 as it is. I'm not talking about, expanding that to include our objection to C2 and C1 being combined. I'm not talking about our objection to combining the use groups. I'm strictly limiting this to proposal 5. I think having that forced separation is actually a good thing. And if they're going to have a business and a residence on the same upper floor, that this would make sense to do.
It doesn't make any sense to do for one and only reason. Because if we are not connecting proposal number 5 to proposal number 2, we just don't want to read.
We've already
If we
said,
have a-
we've already objected.
If
to
we have a,
proposal two.
if we have a list, for example, very limited list of businesses that's gonna be allowed, okay, on the second floor of residential building in such commercial zones, we have something to talk about. But we just spoke an hour ago, even less, about big list of businesses that's gonna be allowed on the second floor, which is on C1, C2. So the same repair shops, again, let me repeat what I said before. This is all words. It's gonna be safe, it's gonna be good, it's gonna enable this and this and this. Give me the requirement. This and this business, it's not gonna be allowed on the second floor. This and this business separation. Who is going to, again, in order to open certain type of businesses, you don't need any kind of preliminary inspection in order to open, if you open a big printing shop, yes. But if you open alteration and put 5 or 6 sewing machine on top of somebody's head, you don't need any kind of inspection to allow it. Okay? So it doesn't make any sense unless we have a list of businesses that are not, okay, let's say not allowed. Not will be allowed, will be not allowed on the second floor.
This is going to opposite side to what this proposal going. They're going to simplify and combine them.
Okay, I don't
Right,
know.
but aren't we talking also about number 11, which is home occupations?
Get to that.
This is saying floors, not floor, not second floor. It could be third floor, it could be fourth floor.
Could be all the way up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
As long as they have a separate entrance and they got their 15 feet and they're ADA compliant. But Matt,
Is Matt?
Yeah, that is not correct in a C1 or C2 district because in a C1 or a C2, commercial uses are limited to the first and the second floor only. What you're describing is the proposal that we have in the higher density C4, 5, and 6 districts, which I do not believe you have any of in Community District 13.
We don't have it yet. We don't have it yet. Okay, if somebody tells me 10 years ago, even after 2009 rezoning for Coney Island was voted on, if somebody tells me we are going to get, which is good for developers and I want people to make money, we're gonna get mandatory inclusionary housing, almost killing all parking requirements in a very busy residential area, I would not believe it. So as of now, we don't have it. What's gonna happen in 3 or 4 years, we don't know.
Any change in the zoning would go through a full ULURP. So it would go through a full rezoning if you were to make any changes that would allow a C4, 5, or 6 district in Community Board 13.
Yeah, I don't wanna even talk about it.
Lolita is on, she raised her hand. Lolita?
Who? Lolita?
Yeah, I just wanted to make the same comment that Yelena did. We're discussing the things that don't happen now, but nobody said that it's not going to happen in 10 years, in 5 years. And actually the effects of the 2009 rezoning, we started to feeling just now in 2024. 2023, 2024. But that was first comment. The second comment is, I was just wondering about the requirements that was mentioned earlier. Let's say you allow certain businesses and certain combination of the businesses in the same building, but who would to say that the electrical grid of that particular building or that particular block will support, let's say, if 10 people will open barber shop with 5 fans standing there or whatever other electrical equipment they're using. How this is going to be, I think it's kind of misleading. All these text amendments are very misleading because people will start opening or start to apply, and then they're going to get trapped into these requirements and things of that nature. And just the nature of the building might not allow people to open up. So we're just wondering how we're going to how these requirements will be analyzed before giving permission for certain businesses to be opening in certain neighborhoods, blocks, or buildings.
Especially, I had to put in 3-phase on my equipment. It's, it's not cheap. Okay, you have to.
Can I ask Matt to comment on that, and specifically whether or not the environmental review for this zoning proposal considered things like, future electrical demand and sewer needs and things like that, that would result from any kind of construction and additional economic development as a result of this proposal? Matt, can you say something about that?
Sure. So I think your board colleague was just describing having to install 3-phase electrical. That's part of the building and electrical code system, which works hand in hand with the zoning. So the zoning allows a use, but in order for that use to go into a space, they have to abide by those other codes. So he was required 3-phase electrical and had to upgrade his electrical. Yes, there's a cost, but it is because of these interlocking codes that the changes that are being proposed happen in making sure that other things, whether it is sewer, whether it is electric, whether it is water, or even internet service, that these things are incrementally updated over time.
I'm just wondering if nobody who's making proposals, especially for this part of New York City and for this part of Brooklyn, has an idea about condition of our infrastructure. I'm just wondering,
That's what I was trying to get into.
But it's citywide. We have to.
Yeah, except 11224 and 11235. See, that's off the map. That's
zip coding.
That's zip coding. That's out. That's why we're.
In
It's
case
what?
it's helpful, Community Board 6 voted to approve just today, last night, I think it was. And Community Board 15 voted to approve in November.
Really?
No, Community Board 15 voted to approve what in November?
The thing you're considering, it's in our land use portal.
In November?
That's right.
Yeah, they did their homework very early.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna speak to Teresa tomorrow. I'm gonna find out if I
I'm
knew.
sure he's not lying.
No, of course he's not lying, but
I know that.
They were for the full board already, Robert.
And proposal number 5, we are unhappy, we're happy,
we're dancing.
we're dancing.
Yeah, enjoy, okay?
Excuse me?
Sounds like a rejection.
Yeah,
I-
we're not happy.
No.
Have we approved anyone so far? I
No.
don't think
No,
so.
you've no commented and rejected several.
Right. No, the first one.
That was no comment, I thought.
No.
No.
I said, no, first one, it's not bad idea, okay? That's what we said. And even though it does not apply to our district right now, but
We
Okay.
thought it wasn't a bad
wait,
idea.
wait.
So
that's what
Wait.
you said.
No comment.
No comment.
Okay,
Yeah, we
wait,
have no comment.
but, yeah, no, but
It
it
doesn't
said,
apply, it doesn't apply, no comment.
yeah, no, comment.
We're talking about one?
Yeah, one.
Right.
NA.
NA.
Okay, number 6.
Number 6. Number 6, simplify and modernize the way businesses are classified in zoning.
Eating and drinking together with furniture still be complicated to differentiate.
Mary,
Elena, you were talking about the need to update use groups. This is that proposal. It updates the use groups, but it makes no other
Okay.
changes.
The reason I was talking to update use group, not put apples and oranges in one basket. I was talking about updating, for example, what is allowed for each and every use group. And before you came, I was giving an example. We are Brighton Beach Avenue, it's R6 with C1. We have a building, 4, 5, whatever story building, with use group 4 from the second floor to fifth floor, which is fine for community facilities except veterinary cleaning, sleeping over, and on and on. Someone wants to open proprietary school. It is state regulated proprietary school, which we do not have in our area. And I believe Brighton and Coney Island would really, really benefit from having some beauty medical assistant accounting school for people, for new immigrants. In the second place, in the first place, for people who, not everyone is made for college, but people need skills and people need profession. Everything is submitted to state education department. When you look at the description of use group 4, it says what is not allowed, okay? As I said, veterinary clinic, sleeping over, and on and on. So fire department came for inspection, that's the part of the process. They said, oops, school cannot be open in use group 4. It should go to use group 9. We do not have buildings with group use 9 in our area. So what I'm saying, if you're allowing under use group 4, adult daycare, which is allowed because it's not sleeping over, if you are allowed in community center, if you are allowing, let's say some whatever, it should, each and every group should be modified.
Yeah.
What should be allowed and what should be not allowed. That's what
Right.
I'm talking.
So
Not-
we would allow use group 9 veterinary adult education in C1 districts under proposal 2. I know you don't want to hear that, but that is one of the kinds of business types we would allow in more places. So what you're doing, what you're asking for, we are addressing as part of proposal 2.
Understood.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So I happen to think proposal 6 is a good idea, but was taken way too far. And what I mean by that is that, yes, it's generally a good idea to update, modernize the way these zoning use groups have been defined. However, I think that what the city did, your proposal looks to create use groups that are based on retail services, for example, but not all retail services have the same kinds of impacts. And what's missing from this regrouping is a subgrouping by impact. So I would have proposed that this kind of approach be taken, but that it not be as simplified as you proposed. So for that reason, I would personally reject proposal 6 and suggest work needs to be done and more use groups need to be saved because they need to be grouped not just by uses, but by impacts as well.
Thank you for your feedback, Craig. 2 things I will say on this. One is that proposal 6 does not change where any particular business is allowed to locate. It does not change the regulations around location itself. So your comment about impact, I hear you on the way it might appear, but it does not actually change the current zoning as it relates to where businesses are allowed. The second thing I will say is that, the second thing I'll say is that related to retail and services specifically, we have tied these uses to something called the North American Industry Classification System, which provides far more detailed definitions of each kind of industry that falls under each of the defined uses. This is a list of industries that the federal government maintains and updates every 5 years and goes into an immense amount of detail around the kinds of activities allowed under each defined use. So it provides the detail that you're asking for. It also does not make any changes to where any business can locate.
So you're telling me, I'm looking at the retail, group 6. It says eating and drinking, bike rental and repair, art studios, furniture stores. This is retail and services. I'm looking at group number 9. It's a storage. I'm talking, so where is the educational institutions?
Okay.
I'm-
Yeah, I see where the confusion is, and this is actually something we're looking at with the Department of Buildings because of the exact confusion. So I was referring to current use group 9, which is allowed in C2 districts and is not allowed in C1 districts. C2 districts, that current use group 9 is being collapsed into the retail and services use group 6, where you will see a range of retail and service uses that under proposal 2, we are allowing in both C1 and C2 districts. So there's a couple of different related things going on here. There's the updating of the terms and the use groups themselves. And then there's that separate change where we would be allowing the businesses in C1 that are currently allowed in C2. So in a moment, I can get you the exact use that I was referring to and what it would be under this new use framework. Just give me a second to look it up.
Okay, because as of now, you have, when you have use groups, let's say you have 1 or 3 or 4, you have 4A, 4B, and on and on and on. So I see numbers only, I do not see any breakdown here.
Yeah, Eddie, I'm going to put something in the chat. I would encourage, I don't know if there's a way to distribute it, but you can actually check this out on our website as well. And it is what we call a use translation. It takes every single use in our zoning today, and it translates it into what that use would be in the future. So I'm looking up the, I think it is an adult. Yeah, trade school with adults. So that's current use group 9, allow in C2 districts only, would be use group 6 service, technical and trade schools. So we are proposing to allow that use in C1 districts as well.
Okay. How do we feel about this change? It doesn't seem like
Wait,
it's
I'm
gonna hurt
sorry. So
anything.
each in every building owner, something came to my mind right now. Each and every building owner has a CFO, okay? Let's say if it's more than whatever floors, it says first floor, it's group 1, second floor, it's group 2, and on and on and on and on. So how those changes are going to affect CFO?
Yeah, this is a great question and something we worked a lot with DOB on. If you look at very old buildings, they typically will predate the 1961 zoning, and so they'll say something like store. And then you see the use group from our current zoning. What we were working with DOB is that in the future, the C of O will include both the current use group and then the future one, and will make clear that those are the same. And so the C of O itself, when you get a new one, will be reissued, and it will show you what your new use is and also what the old use was. Does that make sense?
No, I understand the process. So, okay, so the building owner should reach out to DOB and ask for a new CFO, or it's going to be reused automatically?
Neither actually. So as they need a new C of O, they will get a new C of O that's issued that has their new use classification under zoning, and it will also reference what previously their building had. So it will be clear to the building owner what they were and what they will be. I will also admit to you all that this is something that we've heard this kind of confusion from a few different boards, and we're looking at ways to make a change so that it's very clear that there is a difference between an old use group and a new use group. That will not require a change of the C of O, but it's an administrative change that will make the zoning easier to understand.
So our view on number 6? Simplify it.
No, I understand.
All we're doing is classifying them based on federal.
As of now, I mean, honestly, I personally do not have an opinion, because what I see now, I see, putting all together, which is kind of not really, but
how about everybody else?
if they wanna.
Jeff, any views?
Still thinking.
Oh, okay, Michael? Pick a Michael,
Michael Silverman.
yeah.
He left.
If they give her a better, like Matt said, they're gonna reclassify the use groups, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I'm okay
All
with,
they're doing is reclassifying. If
no,
that's
no, no.
what they're doing.
What we see now
What we see
doesn't
now,
make any sense, okay? Doesn't make any sense. As soon as it's not being spelled out, as I said, it's
yeah,
tell
but if
me.
you go look at this North American industry classification.
I don't wanna look. I have enough
looked.
documents to look.
It's
I have-
very, 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 very detailed.
I just have a question for Matt. I live in a co-op. I know we have a proprietary lease, but there's nothing that says in the proprietary lease that you can't have a business. I know a lot of people are running businesses out of their house, their home, they're running computers and graphics and things like that.
That's a
But
different proposal.
Is that a different proposal?
Yeah.
It is, but you can ask your question and I'll hold my answer.
I'm asking it because if we have, let's say, 444 apartments as a C of O, and then one business comes in, doesn't the C of O change for the cooperative?
The C of O would not change under the home occupation regulations, no.
Okay,
That's good.
that's interesting.
Okay, we do
So we don't carry
Okay.
the
conditional, okay.
conditional, okay.
Yeah, because they have to give us, some, this.
Well, it's available. It's just very, 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 very. Yeah, it's very detailed. All right,
Stand the better.
we're moving on. Urban architecture, right, agriculture, yes. Would allow indoor agriculture in commercial districts.
Really? It's like cannabis?
Sure.
No, why not?
Tomatoes and cannabis, and it's gonna be big competition. Who pays more to landlord, cannabis or tomato? But if, in addition to tomato, you're gonna make salsa, it's still gonna be different category. Am I right?
You read your notes, that's correct.
That's what they said.
That's what you said.
And
Yeah.
you're completely correct on that. So
All right,
this
we're
would allow
gonna-
tomatoes, it would allow cannabis, but only if you're licensed by the state.
Yeah.
Exploring that, I'm gonna start growing my own marijuana plants.
Don't do that because we'll have to arrest you.
What's the downside
What, of having my own marijuana? plant?
of indoor agriculture?
No,
They said in the.
Well, it depends if it becomes overgrown in your apartment.
So I'm saying, on the proposal, is there an objection to it?
no.
Electrical consumption. Open to pollute.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. In what commercial zones are you allowing this indoor agriculture? All commercial zones.
That's right.
So what is the outside? So it's gonna be next to your apartment building. You're gonna grow tomato or cannabis.
Next year?
Make
Oh,
sense.
so I can't, and make salsa. Oh, we're not gonna do it in our apartments,
For a permit from. the
Wait,
state.
no, it
No.
can be
only
okay,
in the commercial district.
wait. Let's go back to the previous proposal.
The use.
When we are talking about when we are talking about second floor. So if it's a residential building and you happen to live on the third floor or fourth floor, you can have this cannabis, tomato and salsa.
But I thought you're supposed to have a commercial. In a
It's
commercial. area.
overlay, yeah.
Overlay.
So
So
first-
if you have a C1 or a C2 overlay, like in
And-
Brighton.
Okay, yeah, but
Right.
if you have, but not, it's only on Brighton, it's, let's say, okay, Michael, what zoning is your new building? I'm not talking about residential part, I'm talking about commercial part.
C7.
C7, it's residential, C7, yeah? Yeah, because it's across the street, okay, so that's different type of businesses,
Right.
but what,
Or, all right, it's X7. I forget.
No, X7 is for
It's-
residential part.
Yeah,
I'm talking about commercial.
That's Seaside, yeah, but it's
Okay,
Seaside.
but let's say the Veterans Building, you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
West
Yeah,
19.
the one
okay.
on West
Okay, it's not C7. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not C7. So you here, let's say it's C2, okay? Okay, so why not? We can have people, all of the floors up.
They're
and we
growing
can-
tomatoes.
Yeah, and they, you know.
They're growing tomatoes and then they're gonna come down and have illegal vendors on the outside selling those tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be cooking too, then they can sell.
Okay. Right?
It's a big.
But it's better than them selling cannabis, so.
They still gonna sell it.
Despite on what you grow, you need a lot of electricity, you need a lot of water.
Yes,
To support.
absolutely.
Hydroponics, the hydroponics.
Yes, it's.
And we don't have enough water now.
Fish farming, too. I mean, I know
Yeah, we can have a fish.
you could do it in a basement, everything controlled by a laptop and grow 1,000 pounds of tilapia.
Okay, and instead of fishing boats,
Yeah.
we can give somebody a tour from one location to another. No, this is
All right.
ridiculous, no,
All right.
no.
So are we gonna permit indoor or
No.
out?
No,
No.
No,
No. No. All right, and the reason is basically what was it?
Let's take a look at.
We can't support it, this. Community. right now
unless,
can't support-
unless if you wanna open your own cannabis,
There's too much water for that.
And the
You
answer
throw
is
the
no.
seeds
no,
out.
right.
no gutter.
okay, to A, okay.
Yeah.
No, you're laughing, serious.
Let's
Brenda.
go to
Wait, life sciences. I think what they're talking about is labs.
Yeah.
Laboratories like where you go and get your blood taken and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And they're limiting them to 10,000 square feet.
okay, but now they're allowing them in C1. So next to the store, it's gonna be some, lot.
Wait, I think
It's a
that
building.
proposal 8, it relates only to area close to hospitals or like some institution.
Does it?
Because why would you have a lab on Brighton Beach? I mean, why do you need a walking distance to live walking distance from?
It
the
doesn't
lab?
say that, though.
It doesn't say, not
Doesn't
about,
say that.
okay, it doesn't
No.
say that.
Makes sense.
If I may, Yelena and Angela are both correct.
What?
So you're both right. So there are three components to this. The first is part of proposal 2. Laboratories are allowed in C2 districts. They are not allowed in C1 districts.
No.
They are limited though to 2 FAR. So you could see one at a maximum of about 10,000 square feet in either district, but that is, Elena's correct on that. Another part of this is updating the terminology for a laboratory. So today, the terminology still says you have to be medical or dental, you can manufacture teeth. It's a very outdated term, and it didn't anticipate biotechnology and a lot of the research that happens in laboratories. So this part of the proposal really is aimed at places like Manhattan, places around, say, SUNY downstate, where there's a lot more research going on. And then the third part of this is what Angela was saying, which is related to near hospitals and universities. There's an existing special permit that allows for a laboratory to locate in some places, but we're expanding where that special permit could be potentially used, so it could locate closer to a hospital or university. So those are the three components of proposal 8.
Why doesn't the zoning limit it just to those areas?
Okay,
Yeah.
so, Ira is right, why the zoning, just limited to those areas? Okay, on 86th Street, I believe, and 17 or 16th Avenue, we have lab, okay? I was there recently before New Year. So, you know how it works, they have those boxes, like doctors leave lab, they have those boxes are being picked up, after working hours.
Right. So, and my doctor's office says the same
Yeah.
thing. Every
Yeah,
doctor's
every
office says
doctor.
it.
Okay,
that.
I don't want those boxes on the sidewalk of Brighton Beach Avenue.
You're getting picky now.
Of course I'm getting picky, because if
It's already.
I believe, I'm inviting everybody, including very nice people from city planning, to sit in my office for 1 day and listen to those complaints about lack of enforcement, about garbage not being picked up, about store violating each and every possible law, occupying sidewalk, and there is no enforcement, none so ever. Yeah, look at, I mean, whatever, lucky you, okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't get the Barbara.
No, no enforcement. And you're telling us, and I understand, change is good, change is the progress, but you're telling us right now you want to bring more with less. This is why, okay,
So
No.
you can object to the laboratories on Brighton Avenue and still accept the special permit part of it and the updating the terminology part of it. That's okay too.
the special permit, you mean for the area located next to hospitals and medical?
That's right.
Okay, wait, how big does medical institution should be in order to get special permit? What kind of medical institutions we are talking about?
A hospital or university or someone else could apply to consider having a laboratory. So it goes through an environmental review. It goes through the community board. These are not as of right processes. There's not a, there are some size limits, but it's related to the size of the hospital. So it's hard to give you a straight answer because it depends on what the hospital or the university lot allows them to build.
Okay, good enough, thank you. So actually, Matt is right, we can reject bringing any kind of labs to C1 zone, but say we support special permitting process.
Oh, that sounds good.
And very good. Did Barbara hear that?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I'll tell her tomorrow.
I do. I'm sure you will too.
all right, nightlife.
Oh.
That they still don't understand why they don't allow dancing.
Well,
Okay.
that's-
I'll repeat what I said before. You are, you're legalizing what is already exists, okay? Because all of the bars and restaurants, if they have live music, DJ and on, usually it's kind of dancing, okay? The only issue I have, and I said it before, with the enforcement process. Because agencies you have, FND, fire department and GOB, we simply talking about some kind of assembly permit. Those agencies are going to oversee how many seats do you have. Also, fire department is not gonna come at night to see really how many people you have there, unless, God forbid, unless you have a fire.
You never met fire
Okay.
protection.
And also,
But they don't come if people, unless people complain.
No, they inspect at night.
for 2 seasons, we were asking one of the club's performers not to locate speakers to our windows for 2 seasons. Nobody comes at 1 a.m. when our windows are
See, that used to
shaking.
be consumer
For 2
affairs.
Nobody.
Okay, forget it. Forget it. I can write a book about consumer affairs, okay? So again, legalizing what already exists is fine, but I believe your agency or whoever is responsible, first and foremost, your agency should go back to drawing board and have some kind of rules and regulation in enforcement process, because you are adding to problems. You are adding to problems without giving community any tools to deal with those problems. That's my opinion, but everybody else can say whatever you
No, I'm saying with no enforcement as it is, as now, we're living next to the entertainment business with no enforcement. For 2 seasons, we're trying to ask them not to bombard us with the music.
Who?
To rotate
Who?
art walls, rotate the speakers away from our buildings for 2 seasons. And nobody can convince them to do it. And all our complaint goes somewhere else. It's, I'm preparing for the new season and I don't see any difference. So there is no enforcement as it is. That's what create.
They promise.
I'm against.
Okay. she's
So all
against.
they're doing is,
Whoever wrote this proposal, I will believe should get some Pulitzer Premio because it's written very well. It's very appealing when you read it, you know.
But they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, but unfortunately, sometimes we feel like, I don't wanna put anybody down and I don't wanna say people don't know what they're doing. But when you put all of those nights together without really knowing the situation, what's going on, not in Brighton, not in Coney Island, I'm talking about the city of New York, it's sad. Okay.
So if you could write your enforcement wishes to your council members, if there were things that you wanted to happen around nightlife enforcement, what would those be?
I gotta say something.
What was, okay,
wait,
I will write to whomever I wanna write. I have to stay in the corner and collect some money and bring it to Mayor Adams and tell him, why don't you hire a few more agents? You know, I'm not talking about enforcement type of enforcement. I'm talking about the overall culture of enforcement in New York City right now.
I have to say something about enforcement, okay? The community wants the music to stop at 2. The governor point blank said that they're allowed to go to 4 o'clock in the morning. So what are you supposed to do? And that's the governor's rule. Yes, 4 o'clock in the morning.
4
And
o'clock.
that's why when you call the cops at 1,
doesn't live here.
if you call the cops at 1 or 2, they have nothing to enforce because that's the law.
I will add to it. This is why, wait,
Yes.
this is why, wait. This is why we have people coming to our licensing committee to apply for a liquor license, which is state agency, asking for business hours to be until 4 o'clock. And we are telling them, please don't do it. We want you to be good neighbors and on and on.
And that's
And
against
they're
the law.
telling them, and they're telling us, no, it's a state law. So you're gonna bring more to dance until 4 o'clock in the morning because state liquor authority, you have in parentheses, even if it's a state agency, would allow. But if they're too loud, and I'm a neighbor, and I would call 311 to file noise complaint, I would wait until I find a new apartment to move until they come and control it. That's the problem. That's the problem. Again, I want businesses. I want each and every storefront to be occupied. I want people to make money. I love when people make money. When people are poor, they struggle, they don't smile and on and on and on. But it's unrealistic in today's circumstances. That's it.
Pat was saying something.
I just said, why are they required to have better soundproofing on these clubs? I mean, I know like Julius, you have great music, but I don't hear it in the street. I mean, you got a great
If
building.
you heard it in the street from where you are, he'd be in a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
trouble.
why that's why casino, because you don't hear.
I don't hear it. I'm just saying, why can't they be made to do better soundproofing with these clubs? She gets in her apartment. I don't
But
understand.
it's not club, it's whatever.
This isn't on the floor today. We can't solve that. We can't even, all right. We don't look it. It's now an hour and a half.
I would suggest, though, that requiring businesses to have better soundproofing, or at least making note of the need for better soundproofing in your recommendation, is the kind of thing that will be helpful to your council members.
Okay.
Will not aim speakers at the residential buildings.
No.
We need better sound.
No, we will discuss how
Do they
to.
see it? she's talking about is outdoors.
It's outdoors.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay, outdoors, we are talking about now proposal number 10. Create more opportunities for amusement to locate indoors and outdoors. So here you go.
Well, that's a different amusement there.
What do you mean different amusement? You cannot, if you have some amusement, whatever, some arcade
Right.
or whatever, some game place in what, in C1 or residential, whatever zone. Yeah,
Actually, if I may, the C8 districts, of which Community Board 13 has at least 3 different pockets of C8 zoning,
yes, something there.
would allow for indoor and outdoor amusement uses. And in each of these C8 districts, they're surrounded and surrounded by residential
Absolutely.
uses. To introduce an outdoor amusement use adjacent to a residential use creates a land use conflict. For that reason, I would object to proposal number 10 and suggest that there's a lot more work needed for some.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, my favorite, my favorite, my favorite.
Okay, home ec,
One of my favorites.
Yes, let's move on.
let's move on.
Move on.
All right, so we're still growing tomatoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you grow tomatoes, in your apartment, you grow tomatoes. Your neighbor will open a nail salon.
Yes, well,
Wait.
how about bar?
No,
No.
your neighbor will open a nail salon with 3 employees, okay? With 3, in
Right,
addition,
yes,
with 3 employees.
employees,
Yeah,
yes.
and here it's gonna be legal, but nobody gonna register her. Nobody will come and find out if she has a license.
Department of Health.
Specs that
They-
were-
So of health would know unless somebody complain if they don't register. Also, your neighbor in a nail salon with 3 employees renting 2-bedroom apartment would have stock of flammable material. Stock of
Yeah.
flammable material, but your neighbor upstairs would have dance classes, okay? And next, and the other neighbor, yeah, and this other neighbor upstairs. And the other neighbor upstairs gonna start home cooking and invite people, catering,
Don't forget the music classes.
yeah, and music classes.
Oh, drums.
And drums.
Drums is-
My son is a drummer.
Okay, again, you are legalizing actually what already exists. But I don't know if you know how many people in your building, yes, Ida.
Yeah, they cook,
At
they do that.
6:00 in the morning, my bathroom smells from onions. And I know that the apartment next door is not cooking in their bathroom. But of course, we have air shafts and windows. If the guy downstairs or next door is cooking in there, frying onions at 7:00 in the morning in the kitchen, I smell it in my bathroom. Okay, and these are what our buildings are like. Plus, for a lot of us, gas and electric is included in our maintenance. So if you're doing hair and you're using the blowers all day, my maintenance goes up. If you're washing heads, even if you're not in a co-op, if you're in a rental, they gotta pay water and sewer. So if
The
somebody's
rent's gonna
washing,
go.
the landlord's water and sewer goes up.
Exactly.
Against me with that.
He's gonna raise your rent.
See, it's needed because you're blowing the hair dryers all day. You blow out the main fuses for that line in the apartment.
And the caterer is using gas.
We is more, I can see them now on my new balcony that they put out. Tomatoes with the squash. You go down some blocks in Brooklyn, the whole front yard, there's ropes and there's squash.
I guess you're against it.
Yeah, we can this
You
house.
think so?
No way.
No, we like it.
But
We love it. We love it.
Marion, I think it would be important to note, and this was the one that I personally singled out and suggested that in order for anything like this to ever be considered, we need to see a revamped enforcement strategy because this is the one where buildings will not be able to gain access into anyone's home business. This is the one where buildings will not be able to inspect for compliance. And this is the one
my
where there will
God.
be the most amount of conflicts between neighbors. And so I think that it's important that we go on record saying that prior to any consideration of this, we need to see a new enforcement strategy that's going to be more effective because the one we have now ain't working.
Okay, can we?
Should never be considered.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, so, no, just simple no.
Absolutely, not even to be reconsidered.
There's no.
Let me tell you a quick story. I worked at police headquarters. We had the nail salons around the corner. My detective goes out for lunch because he's gonna get a gift card for his wife for the holidays. Doesn't come back. An hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. He finally comes back. Where the hell were you? He walked into that nail salon. It was so toxic that he called the Board of Health and they came down and shut them down in 5 minutes. Because those nail salons, if they're not properly vented, and they are deathly toxic. And that's my story.
Yeah, it's gonna be great next to somebody's apartment.
Ah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Actually, let me tell you something from the testimony. Somebody who testified, and I believe she is a former employee of fire department. She said, when we have a call, God forbid for fire, we always know where we go to. But if it's not, if it's unregistered business, that's.
time out. Lolita raised her hand. Thank you.
I
Lolita,
just have a question. With all this situation with the adding commercial element to the certain zones, how this will reflect on the taxes that people are paying in those zones? So if there's, if there's a change in the zoning, will it affect and a lot of commercial activities will be allowed? How this will affect taxes that people are paying for their properties?
She's right, we will all pay for it.
Any business activity within a home is considered accessory to the dwelling unit. So from a tax perspective and from a zoning perspective, the unit is still residential and not commercial.
no.
So you
He said,
pay.
like- Right, he basically said
So if
that it's
we-
still residential,
No.
even though it's.
Yeah,
No.
that's what he said.
No,
But that makes no
But the
sense.
insurance will go up anyway.
what insurance? They're not gonna have any kind of insurance. Are you kidding me?
I'll go for a mortgage.
Yeah.
If they go for a mortgage, they will, they have
Yeah.
to.
They
No,
have
no,
to-
I'm talking about, let's say it's rental apartment, okay?
Yeah.
And I have a business. If you have a business and employees, you need liability insurance,
Right.
workers' comp and on and on. They're not gonna have it. Come on.
Okay.
All right,
Street
12.
safe, number 12.
Angela knows what is all
I
about.
have no comments on this. I did.
Oh, actually, I think this one, in fact, believe it or not, this one is a fantastic proposal.
Really?
Yes, because, at least where I came from, there were buildings that were built according to zoning where you had entire block lengths of blank wall. Nothing there, no windows, no lighting, no nothing. And this was a Fourth Avenue rezone, special zoning,
Okay.
for your reference. And they had to go back and they had to, pass a second zoning action that would mandate that they would have to put in windows and they would have to put in lighting and they would have to break up that type of development. Because right now, the zoning calls for nothing, for them to do nothing when they build buildings
So
like that.
make it pretty.
This,
It's
this,
good.
this one actually is a real benefit to the community to have designs like that, that are forced onto the developers. Otherwise, it's cheap to just build a straight blank wall and not put any
Put
windows.
any on it,
But it
yeah.
applies to new construction, correct?
Yeah.
It applies to new construction, okay?
It applies to new construction or if there is a substantial alteration of an existing building. So if you have to go to DOB, you can't make anything worse.
Yeah.
Make it pretty,
Make it
okay.
pretty. Yeah.
Well, make it safe. You want lighting, you
safe,
want
you
a
want lighting.
presence, you want something interesting at the pedestrian level.
Yeah, Craig is exactly right in why we are creating this proposal, because if you don't have baseline rules for ground floor design, some of the worst designs come out and they're unsafe, they're unpleasant, and they don't foster a sense of community and they don't foster economic vibrancy.
Okay, our favorite one, number 13, auto repair.
It's about conflict, okay,
Reducing the conflict.
so reducing the conflict.
Yes.
Reducing or increasing?
I would actually, number one, it's unacceptable that we even have this zone C1 in this kind of proposal, okay? Number two, even though we are talking about community board approval and we say process and on and on and on and on, and I saw your email, Matt, today you sent to Greg about the permit for 20 years can be revoked and on. Okay, again, I'm going back to the furniture store. We were trying to get rid for 10 years. So I don't know how it's gonna work, how we can revoke and this and this. I do believe as of now, I personally say no way, okay? But I believe it should be reconsidered, the zoning. You cannot bring this kind of business to C1 zone. I mean.
So I want to ask you a question on that. If this proposal were modified so that there would no longer be an option in C1 districts, but in C2 districts, it would now be by BSA only?
C1 should be excluded, okay?
Right.
Excluded, okay, number one. And I believe C1, C2.
And
Number two, it should be some kind of prerequisites, requirement to open this kind of business. Because, for example, let's say we are talking about whatever. Why do we have problem on Craftsy and Neptune Avenue? Because it's zoned for it, so they open using sidewalk.
Right.
Some of them
Parking.
for parking. So some of them, if you say, let's say in your requirement, in order to have to get a permit, blah, 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 from DMV or whatever, you need a parking lot for number of cars, that's one story.
Yeah.
But
So
even
that's exactly what we're proposing.
no,
Still the
you're
parking.
proposing to discuss it. But again, I'm sorry. People can open tire shop, okay, in the middle of C1. It's as bad as light auto repair, whatever. So those kind of businesses which requires cars to be stored or cars to be parked next to those businesses, any kind of related car equipment should be excluded from C1 and C2. But we have space available, corner space, because John Reed left. You know what? If somebody comes, and I believe the landlord would have issues because it's not easy to divide this property.
I just want to make sure you understand what we're proposing, because based on what you're describing, I think you should like what we're proposing, but let me give it another shot. So today in a C2 district, you can have tire shops or other kinds of auto repair as of right. There's no site plan review, there's no anything. They can just locate, and that's what the zoning allows. What we're proposing in C2 districts is to say, if you are going to locate in the future, you have to go through a process with the BSA. That process includes requirements that the activity that's going on be contained within the zoning lot, whether that's a parking lot or inside the building itself. And the BSA, under what we're proposing, has the authority to revoke at any time that special permit if they are found not to be in compliance. So that's what we're proposing for C2 districts. I've heard you loud and clear. Right, so I've heard you loud and clear that you would not like this option for C1 districts. So my question for you is, if we removed that option for C1 districts, would you support the proposal?
No, because.
No.
Can't walk on Craftsy Avenue too.
If C1 becomes C2, we're automatically back to the same thing.
But we're not. What I'm saying here is, if that BSA permit option were removed from C1 districts And that option would not exist in C1 districts.
Okay, you're talking about, let's say, new businesses. This is what I'm talking about. But we have existing businesses. Do you have anything in?
Are they grandfathered in? Are the old businesses grandfathered in?
They're gonna be grandfathered in C2. They're gonna be grandfathered in C2. And we already have issues that unfortunately, for whatever reasons, cannot be resolved. So I do believe that instead of moving those kind of businesses to M zones, when they're not, prevent people from living normal life and does not affect quality of life, you're bringing those kind of businesses closer to residential areas and community shopping
They've
areas.
been putting walls up for, not to back them 100%. But if there's proposal in it, there has to be no street parking, there have to be
Yeah.
off-site parking. They can't.
But they don't have it.
They didn't have it.
I understand that, but he's talking about new.
No,
and-
not grandfathered in.
Not grandfathered in, and he's also saying BSA can revoke it,
There's
no
a,
question asked.
Okay, when,
Michael, there's a tire place on Avenue V and Coney Island Avenue.
It's
It's
24 hours.
20, you know the place. You know the tires that are next door? That he leaves after he takes out the hundreds of tires next door
On the side.
on the side. First of all, it's a fire hazard. Secondly, it's a health hazard because of West Nile. Okay, and third, it's infested with rats. And there are two homes that are next door to it. I don't know how they exist, those houses, without complaining about
Well,
it.
there's a tire store.
You know exactly which one.
Y and McDonald's
It's-
who leave their tires out all the time. And the flood that we had last month, I think it was quite a while back, where you couldn't get down McDonald Avenue. Y was washed out for blocks. The water was to the building line because the tires floated down and the tires settled over the drains. And therefore, we had swimming pools in the street.
welcome to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Okay, put me.
we're putting no with the order. That's
I
everything.
didn't see reduction of contract. I see creation of the contract between the.
They see nothing's gonna help.
Mhm.
Micro distribution. This
Where is it? The last,
14,
Where's 14?
We didn't discuss.
we don't have 14. We don't have 14.
Wasn't discussed with.
Yeah, we don't have 14.
right,
Why-
we didn't get that far. That's why we're trying. Micro distribution.
Now, what does that mean?
That means like a.
This is the joke. Currently, zoning does not allow for most forms of goods delivery to occur within buildings in commercial district. This is why every commercial district has double, triple parking.
Come down to West Fifth Street in Neptune.
Issues. Delivery activity often occurs only on sidewalk and streets, blah, blah, blah. Proposal. Create a new use for micro distribution facilities so delivery activity can be located at a small scale closer to homes and
Okay,
offices.
I have a question. Matt or
Hello.
Amelia there?
Yes.
Micro distribution centers.
Uh-huh.
Can you define that a little better than,
It's defining.
no, I
Sure.
want,
So I think the closest way to think about this is a post office. Post offices are allowed everywhere. But if you're not the federal government, the zoning doesn't allow you to have a place to do parcel delivery and pickup. So what this would allow is trying to pull some of the trucks off the street where you see double and triple parking today and allow for some of that activity to happen within buildings. So we've been working very closely within a building. So that instead of the delivery happening in the parking lane, for example, because zoning doesn't allow them to do it indoors, this would allow them to bring the parcels inside overnight and then the next morning deliver them the way that the post office does today. The same sort of model, and you see this kind of thing going on.
But then don't they need specific like loading docks?
No,
No, they,
it's gonna be on the sidewalk from
No, no,
truck to
no,
truck.
It's saying inside, the truck's supposed to go
the
inside.
truck's going inside.
So what kind of facilities in C1 you have for truck to go inside C1, C2,
We don't.
2,500 square feet? So why even to put this kind of zoning in this proposal?
The way we,
25 square feet. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am
The
I
way-
reading?
you're correct, because the way that we see this working, and we've talked a lot to the Department of Transportation about this, the way we see this working in C1 and C2 districts is that it would be a typical storefront size, 2,500 square feet. A lot of the deliveries happen on off hours, so not during the middle of the day. And then those parcels are brought into the building overnight, and the next day that delivery happens at a local scale. Sometimes that's on foot, sometimes that's small vans.
I'm really sorry. Delivery of what?
Everything that local businesses are ordering online, things that people might need for your residents. We're talking about neighborhood-based package delivery.
Okay, and who's gonna deliver it?
Companies that do delivery today.
Okay. When businesses are ordering online or from a wholesaler, okay, we are talking about food business, we are talking about different types of retail businesses. So they come and they unload their truck in front of the store, what creates double, triple, whatever parking, okay? When it comes to C1 zone, which is mixed use in most cases, it's a lot of, I'm talking about our area. It's a lot of food businesses.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna help, to get rid of double, triple parking because of the food business, okay? We have restaurants, we have stores. If it's not a supermarket that being serviced by its own truck or pharmacy, like Walgreens truck comes, a huge trailer comes once a week delivering everything. We are talking about moms and pops food stores, even if you call them supermarket. So milk comes from 3 different wholesaler. Cheese comes from different companies. Okay, so it's not going to help those kind of businesses. Okay, I have a clothing store, and I'm ordering something from China, from Turkey, whatever. It's being delivered from few different services. Okay, from different, different services. So instead of coming to my store, they gonna do what? They gonna go to nearby place, drop my packages, 5, 6, 7 boxes. What is next morning? I have to come and pick it up?
No,
I have to hire somebody to pick it up?
no.
It's gonna,
Deliver it to you with a van.
No, 15 people on scooters coming in, pick it up and start driving.
why?
Are you
Right.
talking about services like Uber or Lyft or DoorDash becoming delivery services instead of,
So what I'm talking about is the idea that you could go into a storefront space, pick up a package, like you would go to a post office and drop off package or the mail. And what I'm also talking about is the ability for a company to use that same storefront space as their neighborhood delivery point, where the next day they would deliver to people's homes and other local businesses.
okay.
But we,
Like an Amazon truck.
yeah, but we have
Yeah.
UPS stores and
It's a
we have,
UPS store.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
but we have UPS
we have
stores.
UPS stores.
You have UPS stores and they're great for drop off, but there's not a lot of space in a UPS store to store anything. And so you often see a UPS store sitting outside, or a UPS truck sitting outside in the sidewalk, in the roadway, because they can't do the storage within the storefront itself. Zoning does not allow UPS to do that today.
I'm just wondering how much you can store in 2,500 square feet, but whatever.
Yeah, Amazon workers.
Okay.
Right.
What?
So to respond to the comment in the chat about safety, this helps to improve the package stealing situation, because now you can go to some place within your neighborhood and pick up your packages as opposed to just having them delivered to your door where someone can steal them. I have had so many packages stolen from me personally. I know it's an issue. And so this is a solution to that kind of thing as well.
Maybe solution to have a camera and find out, arrest somebody for
Okay.
stealing package.
Time out. It is 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We are up to number 14,
And we-
and I have something to bring up under new business.
Okay, Mark has.
Mark has his hand up. Thank you. Mark?
The I'm sorry, the Walgreens at 713 Brighton Beach Avenue has pickup or delivery for packages. The pharmacy at 110 Brighton 11th Street has pickup and delivery for packages. So this is already occurring. Of course, the pharmacy at 110 Brighton 11th Street has a UPS truck parked outside of it for about an hour, shuttling stuff in and picking stuff up. So this is already occurring, and I don't know if that pharmacy is doing something they shouldn't, but it's listed both as an Amazon drop point, as a FedEx drop point. I sent express letters from there already. So I don't get the new part. Anyway, that's my comment.
My comment is I'd like to add something. I buy stuff online and they've started now, if I don't want to pay for shipping, I just gather up the stuff I want to bring back, have the receipt, and the nearest store to drop it off is on 86th Street for me. It's the game store.
Right.
Yeah. it's a
And
lot
they
of
just
stuff.
take it.
They take it.
Yeah.
They take it and
Staples-
I get an immediate credit on my credit card.
Staples does it.
Walgreens does it.
Closed it on Amazon.
Yeah, just with Amazon.
Yeah, Coke does it for Amazon.
Right, but what I'm saying is they do it for a whole bunch of smaller retail online. And it's very convenient. Doesn't cost me anything. So maybe your thing is already existing. I don't know, but seems like it.
Yeah. The common thing in that you're describing is they can do that, but they can only do a very little amount of it. And as a result, you still have an awful lot of package delivery happening to everyone's home from a large warehouse somewhere else in the city, somewhere like Red Hook or Staten Island, where you have hundreds of vans that will leave every morning and drive around everyone's neighborhood delivering packages. So this helps to alleviate a lot of that. That helps to alleviate a lot of that, what is currently not a distributed system for package delivery.
Okay.
Go with your
All right, so
Well,
we'll say,
instead of going to Brighton 5th Street around the corner, they're gonna stop between Brighton 4th Street and 5th to unload the truck for 2 hours, okay? Great. Very healthy.
But yes, no.
No.
say yes, no, maybe.
No.
All right, everybody's saying no?
No.
No. Campus commercial, what they're talking about, if I understand it correctly, is they refer to residential campuses like Marlboro, like the West End, these huge campuses that have spots for stores. Building complexes. Right, to have spots for retail stuff. I believe that we are the biggest natural recurring north.
Yeah.
We're the biggest nork in the city. We have people that are no longer driving. The nearest supermarkets, the nearest drugstores. The drugstores are going out like crazy. Right? The supermarkets. We still have bodegas in this area, but not that many. This sounds like something that would actually be beneficial to our community.
How?
How?
And if I might add, and this also builds in a review process that the community board would be a part of. So it wouldn't just happen as of right. CPC authorizations would require that any large residential complex that wants to introduce a commercial use would actually have to go through the community board to be reviewed.
Reviewed,
I would.
reviewed. That's the great word, reviewed.
Community
Okay.
boards are always advisory. They're not decision.
We're advisory.
Well, wait a minute. If we go back to proposal number 13, if I'm not mistaken, it has a word approval. It should be approved by community board. So what I mean advisory, it's gonna change use, because as of now, in big residential complex, you have community facilities in many of them. In many of them, you're gonna have community facilities. Who do we have? Doctor, senior centers, daycares, and on and on. Okay, if you're a landlord, you should see the difference between commercial rent and community facility rent. So you can make, as a landlord or whatever, much more money by renting such place to commercial.
They do have NYCHA properties.
Yeah, but
these are
NYCHA, it's not only
That
NYCHA.
says NYCHA here.
And plus big complex, not only NYCHA. When it comes to NYCHA, I believe you were asked the question, which we did not get answer, about the revenue. Who, if NYCHA, if we say, okay, Marlboro or whatever complex or Kew Gardens, they have space, why don't they open whatever pharmacy or some store
Instead of community center.
instead of community center, which is bad. But let's say it's not instead of community center, it's next to it, or they're dividing community space. Who is going to get the revenue? NYCHA, I mean, not the complex, NYCHA, which, the worst landlord, not only in the city of New York, but I believe in the United States of America. Or, I remember discussion, we were told again about my favorite three words, community benefit agreement, okay? So, again, it might sound good, especially for housing complex where are far away from commercial strips. And people need some kind of basic, but it should be a little bit more rules and regulations about, how you're gonna do delivery, how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna do that. Are you taking, again, many housing complex, they have parking lot. And that's the very painful topic for this neighborhood. So are you taking, how you gonna do delivery and on and on? So I don't have an opinion, but it doesn't sound good.
I have an opinion that NYCHA representatives should be involved in this discussion.
Yeah, but in addition.
Not today discussion.
All right,
I mean, in general.
additionally to NYCHA, I live in a complex that has two huge buildings that also has a circle, for lack of a better term, of empty space between the two buildings. We are becoming very quickly a senior facility. A senior facility and young babies,
Okay,
all right?
so you
Our
can
nearest
have, you
supermarket
can have
is
part-time job, you can be
a
babysitter. okay.
babysitter. Yes, I will find a job babysitting, right? But point I'm making, all right? Our seniors are at the mercy of food delivery like Grubhub or Fresh Direct or Peapod that charges for delivering food. Or if they need something, the nearest supermarket.
Jaws.
Yeah. And that's half a mile away because I know, all right?
Just move.
It's a half a mile. I mean, that's what I was thinking, something.
What about deliveries?
What about delivery?
How?
Supermarkets is living.
Okay, no,
Supermarkets.
You wanna put kind of supermarket in apartment complex, okay?
Right,
Okay, how you wanna deal with deliveries? Because when it comes to supermarket,
you need delivery, you need fresh food.
you need delivery, you need fresh food, you need employees, you need parking, you need this, you need that. So I would love to have it, but can somebody write it down for me? How it's gonna be? Again, I have no opinion.
After all that.
Can we vote maybe?
After though that,
Yeah.
it sounds like a great idea. How would it work?
Maybe one of the problems here, Matt, is the size that would be allowed, because right now you're proposing 15,000 square feet, and that would require deliveries and such, as Yolanda described.
Yeah.
But if you were to cut that back to, say, 5,000, something that would be more the equivalent of a
Right.
corner bodega space as opposed to a small supermarket space, that might be a controlling factor.
But it's not gonna be attractive for the future operators, okay?
You still need, deliveries.
When
we
we,
need-
when we look at fresh food markets, so this is the city planning's fresh program. On average, most of them are between 10 and 12,000 square feet. So for your standard small market, we're not even talking chain supermarket. We're talking about local accessible food market. Those are around 10 to 12,000 square feet in order to have a full offering of meat, cheese, vegetables, and everything that you need.
Question, in order to open such supermarket in existing housing complex or nature complex, are you allowed to build extra or you are using existing facilities?
The way that this is designed, it could be on existing floor plate, so you could take a ground floor office or underused space. It also could be new floor plate. And to the question around process, I actually spoke with NYCHA today, and what they said is that if they were to use this in any new facility, the first place they would start is with the resident association, because typically they're the ones who drive the process when it comes to any sort of capital investment. And so that is what the NYCHA process would look like. If it's another kind of large scale, for example, your community, Marion, it would of course come from a different place. But the whole point is that this is a tool. It's not as of right. It does require environmental review. It also requires going before the community board. So we think it's an important tool, but it doesn't guarantee that anything happens in and of itself.
I agree with you. It's an important tool, especially taking into consideration that so many nature complexes run now by private companies. So, I mean, listen.
But you get to look at these on a case-by-case basis.
Right, you get to
Okay.
look at it. Can it destroy something? Can it
Or
hurt?
can it build something? It's
It's
destroying community facility.
It takes
Because,
parking lot.
because you, look,
Doesn't necessarily have to take the
No,
parking
it
lot.
doesn't have to, but if they decide to do it, they have to get, because it doesn't come.
where
from
do you get
nothing.
space?
They have to give something.
Where do you get
So
space?
look, there's space on these things. They
Where?
have lawns.
And that is, if I might add, what the environmental review would reveal. If it would be taking away parking, it would note that.
Most of these places have already taken away all their lawns to make parking.
Mhm.
So, Luna Park, case in point.
In apartments,
Yeah.
and there's.
Look at the new building, Rybak is building, what is this? You know what I'm talking about, where,
Shopping center.
okay, across
Yeah.
the street from
Yeah,
shopping
across-
center.
across the street
It
from
used to be,
McDonald's.
yeah, it used to be bigger, much bigger parking lot, so it was sold.
That was always supposed to be a second building.
No,
was
I
supposed to
know
be
about
two.
it.
Always supposed to
And
be-
swimming pool in
That was
between.
always supposed to be a second building.
I guess we're rejecting that.
Okay,
So my
so,
dream,
okay,
In my personal opinion, I believe they should do it.
I think, yeah,
I think they should do it.
I think you should have that as a tool that could be accessed, that would be reviewed on a case-by-case basis.
yeah, fine with me.
But it-
all right?
We approve that. At least me personally.
I agree.
For someone to get food and they don't have to travel, everyone said.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, but you,
I had to get a stupid little battery for my, one of my grandkids' toys. Okay, I end up going to the Rite Aid on Neptune now. No, Mermaid. They closed.
They're closed.
Everything's closed.
They're all closed.
All the Rite Aids.
what do you mean how? Because of the event,
2,500 Rite Aids closed.
and
The nearest drugstore, you're in,
But-
rich,
but-
right?
yeah, bankruptcy. Because everything went online, where everything went online.
And they would need that. Wasn't just
Right.
pharmacy.
It was a pharmacy, it was a local store if you ran out of milk, if you ran out of juice, if you ran out of diapers, whatever.
Retail clothes.
Yeah, but you have shops all over.
Shop. CB truck, what you get?
The so-called convenience stores, you know, so we.
Yeah, you can buy everything. I can buy cheap cigarettes, I can buy milk, I can buy soda, ice cream, everything. So I can.
I say,
Yeah.
our consensus,
Okay.
so what?
In our,
So wait.
wait.
Our
Thank you.
consensus for 15 is what?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, how they're gonna do it with,
No, yes, with modification, with the community board approval instead of,
That's surprise.
he'll go through community board, but it's not the youth, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Case by case.
So it should be looked case by case with community board approval, not opinion. Because when I see the word opinion, I understand nobody will gonna read it.
Elena, community boards approve nothing. Why would they make this the exception?
Yeah.
What
He's
do you mean
right.
co- So, okay,
they approve liquor licenses.
no,
Make recommendations.
recommendation.
They don't approve anything. So why would this be the exception? You make recommendations, you're an.
So
advisory
you
body.
make recommendation for auto shops, you make recommendation again. Okay, so this is why we should say no to all of this nonsense if we have no voice, period. If we have no
And
voice,
the simple thing to do is get rid of 51 community boards.
that's
Oh,
what
well, I
they're
think
trying
That's what we're gonna be doing.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're.
Because when you see,
It's a
when
good
you
thing
see the, now
after-
part number 3 with, so-called residential housing, you see so many changes as far as I was told. And we're gonna be diminished to nothing.
Okay. 16, corner stores. These are things that we didn't get to talk about.
Yeah.
Have a 16.
So
Almost, yeah.
the process for this one and the last proposal are exactly the same. It's a CPC authorization. Only for this one, it's limited to 2,500 square feet, must be located on the corner of an intersection. But it does not have to be located in a large-scale campus setting. It could be located in any residential block.
And for the same reason that 15 looked attractive, just because the community board would be part of a process of reviewing this on a case-by-case basis, I think the same reasoning applies to proposal 16. You should be able to consider those on a case-by-case basis, because if people want them, they would be a good thing to add to the neighborhood.
Look at the picture, 100 feet from intersection. I wanna see,
stores.
wait, I wanna see where is delivery truck gonna be standing. I believe just right on intersection.
But it's not just Brighton in the world.
I'm not talking about Brighton, I'm talking about any kind of residential street.
You got
And
you got a residential street, West Fifth Street and Neptune Avenue. We have a huge shopping center.
But you
I-
have mixed area,
No.
mixed use area.
Right. You cannot, I have called a million times and made complaints. You cannot go northbound on West Fifth Street without going into oncoming traffic.
Right.
Or come southbound. Either way, you're going against traffic because the trucks are all over the place.
Okay, what I'm
All
talking
over the
about,
place.
Avenue Y, for example, in East 13th Street. It's a 2 or 3 floor story house. Downstairs, it used to be store. It's a corner property, even less than 100 feet from intersection. It used to be the store years ago, so store is closed. It is some real estate now located. I don't know if it's still located. The difference, I remember store were there. I remember that I was taking my kids from school. I used to live there. And it was kind of difficult to cross the street because of 2 or 3 trucks or whatever, 1 truck delivery. So now people do not even pay attention if anything is downstairs because it's a real estate business. People come and leave. So again, it should be look at case by case.
But that's what we
Isn't that what we
said.
said?
That's what we said.
Case by case.
17.
Yeah.
Wait,
Huh?
sorry, was that a yes with modifications or was?
Excuse me, and Matt's asking a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What was the consensus on that one?
Yes.
Rationalized waiver process.
No, he's asking for the decision.
16.
I
He's
said the
asking if-
decision is approved with recommendations from the.
Modifications.
Modification.
Thank you.
Only at modifications.
Okay, last but not least.
No.
On 17.
Phasing.
Almost.
Adaptation to growth, thing to grow, if it's a business successful.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you have a successful business, so you can, you can occupy entire block, okay? I mean, simple. But, Tashkent supermarket,
Come back.
which is very successful business, is occupying now entire block on Coney Island Avenue, almost entire block, half a block, between Avenue Z and Avenue Y, next to 7-Eleven. It used to be 5 or 6 different businesses, pharmacy, bakery, Chinese restaurant, Italian restaurant, Uzbeki restaurant. Now we have Tashkent and pharmacy.
At least you still have a pharmacy. Be thankful.
Okay, they cannot buy them. They cannot buy them out. Everyone left. It's not like they close out their business. Like a year ago, you would walk by and you say, "We are moving to. So what is it all about? What is it?
That's about allowing one business to expand,
So
giving them pathways to expand or adapt.
Let's say you're allowed to have a lumber store, 5,000 square feet, and then successful lumber store, so you can.
So now, okay.
Anyways, can't you?
Yeah.
No, that's.
No limitation, then now you have a limitation.
You wanna bring to the stores, maybe?
Well, now they saying it doesn't matter, limitation.
No. They still want to see. They still want to see significant, more than double size increases would require public process where CPC special, also community board will share its opinion,
They will
okay?
ask- They will ask on a case-by-case basis. These will be reviewed by the communities.
Okay, if it's double, but let's say
You
if
get
it's,
to say you don't like it.
no, I don't like it.
If a proposal comes up and they're expanding something that has been a problem for the neighborhood, you get to say you don't like it.
And who's gonna listen?
So it's not
You
gonna be,
just-
it's not
you
gonna be,
You just said yourself your advisor.
it's not gonna be yes. So you have
And-
to offer an opinion instead of them allowing it to happen as of right, where you don't have an opinion.
No, they're not
They're looking
allowing,
for an
no.
opinion.
This is, we are all very good. Some people are better, some people worse. We are very good in playing with words, okay? Even though somebody says we can give an opinion, we still have no power to stop it.
You never will.
Okay.
So we don't.
There you go. Why are we here 2.5 hours now?
Because you're giving an opinion.
I bought it.
They're delicious.
Thank you very much. You better try Russian bars.
They try to be all.
You should tell me if I should.
Yes, go down here. Hey, Elena.
Excuse me.
Yes, Michael.
Is it applicable in F district? Doesn't apply to C district, right?
Say that
This
again?
growth? That's question to Matt.
Sorry, there was too much talking. Could you repeat?
But the question, it says it's applicable only in manufacturing district. Is it correct? Does it apply to commercial district?
This is
It's not-
proposal 17.
Yeah.
It used to be applicable to manufacturing, now it applies to what?
So there seems to be some confusion on this proposal, so I'll try to explain. Some businesses today have a pathway to modify their zoning, either where they're located or if they can go on the second floor versus first floor through the BSA. Some businesses do not have that pathway. It doesn't exist because the BSA system hasn't been looked at since 1961 for the most part. They add new kinds of permits, they take away others. So what this proposal does is it creates uniform types of pathways that go through the BSA. For small modifications to a business operation, anything beyond a small modification would trigger a CPC special permit. So that includes both community board, but also council member input into that process as well. So I want to just describe the framework. And then what you're describing around M districts relates to film studios. This is a separate thing entirely from what I just described, but it's still part of Proposal 17. So this is creating a waiver that would look at the kinds of bulk. So this is the yard requirements for a building. This is the height and setback requirements for a building, and would have a CPC authorization. So it goes before the community board to look at those kinds of shape-related waivers. So that's what the waiver process is. There's the BSA part, there's the CPC or the CPC special permit part, and then there's the CPC authorization part for bulk.
Okay, but my question still remains, not in the commercial district, only in
Correct.
manufacturing. Okay,
For the bulk, yes.
only,
Okay, but we still have some manufacturing district, so some parts. Meaning, if whatever this, how you call it, this storage place, they want to double, triple, they will come to us, we will say no, but council member and whoever say, why not? People need storage place.
Isn't it the same procedure now?
Yes.
Almost.
So what are we voting for? That's the same thing now.
Not all types of businesses get to go through that process. You explained.
Right. Some businesses have a path, some do not. And this notably does not change the underlying zoning. So this is the other thing. If a business today doesn't have a pathway, they have to seek a rezoning entirely. And that opens that rezoned place up to any range of different kinds of things. Whereas these waivers, it keeps the existing zoning in place. It just modifies a portion of it so that the business can adapt rather than having to have a whole area-wide rezoning.
I don't know, I think.
But actually, that's an interesting point that he just brought up. If you, so right now, because they don't have a pathway forward, if they wanted to expand their business, one of the options available would be to go for an actual rezoning. But if it's rezoned, then it's rezoned from that point forward for that tenant and then any other future tenants. They're proposing that the underlying zoning not change so that they could go through this waiver process. So that way, this specific business is going to be looked at as this specific case, and that any future people that would come in there would stop to comply with the original zoning, because that's going to remain intact.
But most of such cases still go through BSA process. I don't remember any zoning change, so-called URLAP or whatever, just because of the small business wants to expand. It's always BSA process.
I don't know, I have not seen on that.
I think anytime that they're looking for an opinion from the community board and you get to review things on a case-by-case basis, you should accept that. You should support that.
Why?
Because the voice of the community board is not heard often enough.
Wait a minute. You have to think to yourself, okay? If we are talking about something new, so why don't we change some at least terminology in approach? We are advisory. Yes, I do know that we are advisory, but we need some kind of, I don't know how you call it, because look how many of us, and we have those committees and we have those meetings and we volunteer. And before we come here, we read, we do our homework. Some people read everything, some people read, summary, whatever, but it's enough to digest. So and we live in the area and we work in the area. So maybe if it's a new proposal, something should be changed. That, that it should be approved or whatever by community board before it goes to the next step. Or some kind of conditions, because if community board says no, it doesn't mean city planning gonna say no, they're gonna still, so why are we
Guarantee they're
dancing?
gonna say
Why are
yes.
we dancing about great procedure community gonna,
Hello, because it's written in the charter right now.
okay?
So they would have to redo the charter.
When they gonna do, if they were working on something that came up with, that requires more changes than adoption for 2 years, they can redo charter.
So is it,
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
almost done?
No, it's not.
No, we're not almost done.
No, we're not.
No, we're not almost done.
Okay, I have a question, wait a minute. Let's say, when we are done with those, proposals, one by one, what are we voting for now?
Can we get through the proposals?
Can we get through the proposals?
We have
We
one
have
chairman.
one left. We have notes. Barbara has notes.
Chair tonight.
No, I mean chairman of the
Oh,
committee.
yeah, okay.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
You're chairman tonight, right,
Right.
which she didn't have to write a letter about. That's automatic.
Well,
That's not what I meant.
we like to get it on the paper.
That's not what I was, Jeff. That's not what I was getting.
5 minutes, it's the last one. Are we voting to?
We have to.
Committee's vote. Oh, wait. Let's say you have 17 proposals. 5 of them, we said fine with modifications, for example, five. 10 of them, we rejected. What are we voting on? To reject
We're
entire,
voting to give to city planning that we rejected 10 of them. And these are our recommendations for the proposals that we have seen.
or,
Same way I just did.
We go one vote.
We're gonna have one vote
okay,
because we are gonna send out what was discussed tonight at the land use. We're gonna send it out very shortly. We have to, Barbara. We are excuse me, Barbara. Yes,
Today is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday.
I know.
Monday's a holiday.
Monday, thank you.
Yeah, it won't be till the end of next week.
All right, and we will stress people, if you want to stay on the community board, read this. Because we can't go through this again. There is no way.
this is why I was asking. This is why I was asking. So.
But wait a second, isn't the purpose of community board committees are allegedly the people that are the most interested, that have the most knowledge to deal with it, and we report to the regular
Okay,
board members.
What? Say it again.
Don't to give a list of.
To approve, to reject, to what?
We considered the 18 proposals for the city of Yes for the economic opportunity, all right? The majority of them, we felt we did not like, we did not want. But there are several that we'll list which proposals we approve with conditions.
Okay.
And that will, yes.
And that will be it. And they will vote on it or they won't vote on it.
Okay, it's a different way, but I'll be back. I gotta call my mom.
Just as we came up with.
Does anybody have more water? Eddie, do you have more water? Thank you. Oh,
Mary, this has been said tonight. I mean, every member you try to comment, whether we're accepting it or we're not interested. We're gonna spell it out there. Full. This we rejected. This is with condition.
no, we're going to list the ones we accepted. My intention is if we say, what is it? Wait, how many did we accept?
We only accepted 3.
The life sciences we liked,
12, 15, 16.
12, what about 10s? No, won't work.
No,
You and
12,
It's agriculture one.
12,
12, yes,
16,
15, 16.
and 15.
On 16. 8, you approved the special permit, but rejected the labs and sealing them.
You got it, you took notes.
oh, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, can we keep them?
Yeah.
We can't enforce.
They will all do what do with us.
Good investment.
A wonderful investment, yeah.
So he's got the notes and we never said it.
And that's what I will say.
Exactly.
And we will hope that the people in attendance compute
If they were
this.
interested, they'd be here.
No, they.
No, they're going the full board.
We're going to the full board now. 18 is a new loft style district, and I believe that is nowhere relevant to us. Am I correct? We're looking at Soho, we're looking at Tribeca, we're looking at.
It's 18.
It is possible that you could see a new kind of industrial district. But I will say that all of these new kinds of M districts have to go through full ULURP in order to be used. So they are zoning districts. They would require a full rezoning to be used anywhere.
We got plenty of room for that.
You know, we got an empty corner.
Yeah, right.
Right. I said we have an empty corner right now.
I know that there are M zoned areas within Community District 13. It is possible that if someone wanted to rezone, they could use one of these new tools.
Is there a square foot minimum?
Ah, there he goes. What you looking at already?
No, I was thinking about it. We've had several in.
You put it out there, I just.
Right. Okay, Matt, we've had several things that have started in the M districts in 13, right on the cusp between where 13 and 11 join.
Sure.
Right? We're gonna have a huge department store there. What was that, 2 years ago or 3 years ago? And there's a community that was partially built. Or Rose.
Rose Gold.
Rose Gold, you mean down 44th?
Hunter Street.
Well, yeah, behind block. No, that.
Huh?
Street block.
Yeah, I said
Yeah.
behind blocks, yeah.
All the way down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think much of it is there, so they've made attempts. And now there's a big M district that is, right now has a whole bunch of storage things in it. Where Verizon used to be.
So what these new kinds of M districts do is
The creek is?
they make changes to the kind of shape that the building could be. So today, most kinds of M buildings are usually one-story warehouses, at least in your, you have M1-2 districts and then an M3-1 district. That all mostly allows one-story buildings, and that's it. So even if you wanted to build a second story, you couldn't do that. What these new districts do is they allow you more flexibility when it comes to the kind of buildings you could build that could provide more opportunities for new development in those M districts. Again, it would need to go through a full rezoning. So full environmental review, community board, council member, the whole works. But they're new kinds of M districts. We haven't updated our city's M districts since the 60s. They're really out of date.
Yeah, we're waiting for Elena, basically.
It could be a potential benefit to this community, but it's most likely not going to affect this community. So I would suggest either taking a no position or a supportive position.
Yeah, good idea.
No support. Okay, with the help of Gabriel, we're gonna make a. Right, because he's my man right now, okay? So. We have 18. Right? And this is for me to bring to the full board. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Number one
NA.
NA. Thank you. Number two.
No.
We rejected. Number three, we rejected, at least we're consistent. Number four, we have no comment.
NA, you can put NA.
Loading docks.
Yeah, it's loading docks.
NA.
It's not applicable to our area.
Right now, it's number five, we said no comment.
What is number 5, wait?
Number five is upper floor commercial.
What do you mean we say no comment?
It says rejected.
It says rejection.
Did, right. I'm going by Gabriel.
Yeah, it's rejected.
Number six, the use terms. That we had a lot of, here I have, my notes say a conditional okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading. Conditional, okay.
Seven was a no.
7 is a no.
Condition.
7 is a no.
8 is a no.
Yeah, right.
Since you want zones, will you approve the special permit?
Yeah, that's right.
You
Wait.
approve the labs near the university, then.
Partial rejected, okay.
Wait.
No, he's on 8.
Yeah, we are on 8.
What does it say, Gabriel?
Reject labs in C1 zones, approve special permit for universities and hospitals.
That's what I,
Partial,
right.
partial rejected, partial approved, whatever word you
Partial
like.
approval.
With conditions.
Yeah.
With conditions of approving universities and hospitals.
No, we said no to the one nightlife.
All right, number 8.
That was 8.
That was number 8, okay.
The nightlife. And
What was number
substance.
7? No,
And 10 was no.
9 was no,
Common sense.
no.
10 was no. 11
11 was no.
Need to know the steps.
Well, yeah. 12, we said,
Okay, with
We said no, not NA.
12.
12 we liked.
12 was the streetscape and urban design rules.
Like that.
Yeah.
13, we said,
No.
A big no on that one.
14, we
We said
said
no.
no.
15
15, we
we said
said
yes.
yes, we like with modifications.
Wait, 15, it's amusement area with,
Campus commercial
15.
Commercial space and residential complexes.
okay.
with
With
recommendations,
modifications.
applications, whichever word you like. 16 is corner stores, again, yes, with modifications. 17 is approved
Expansion.
with the recommendations.
Eighteen?
And
18
18,
was a
we
no.
said no way,
No comment.
no comment. Because it's not applicable.
Okay, so how many no's do we have?
Why don't we do how many
15
yeses?
no's?
No, Okay,
15
so-
no's and 3 yeses.
We only have 3 yeses.
No, I have 4. 8 is partial approval.
Okay.
9. There's no. Opposed.
No, he's
No,
saying
okay.
which one we got. We have 8 approved, 15, 16, and 17.
conditional approved.
All conditional approvals. The rest of them, we said,
No.
No. So we have,
oh, wait a minute, 12. 12, we approved 12 too.
8 were partial approval.
12 and 8 partial.
Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I
okay,
recall 6 as being partial approval too.
6 was conditional.
Conditional, yes, thank you.
what is it?
6 is,
Thing of use group.
Yeah, both use groups. I mean, we're okay with the use groups. So what
Yeah.
are our conditions on use group?
Okay, we have to talk
Yeah,
about that.
Okay,
Go ahead. Okay, with conditions.
it's already done.
So do we have majority of no's or a
We have
majority?
majority of no.
Okay, so now I'm
All
gonna,
right, so now I'm deferring to Matt. We have a majority of no's.
Mhm.
We can list the ones that we are approving by recommendations, with recommendations. How do we overall present this to city planning or to?
That is completely up to you all. We just want I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you what you should do. What I will say is that if you look on Zap, a lot of other boards have voted overall on the entire 1 through 18, and they have uploaded recommendations and whether they support or not each of the 18 when they submit their paperwork on Zap. And that way we have all of the information that we need on the details, on the land use portal, sorry. So we have all the information we need on the details, but we also know overall how the committee approve or disapprove on the overall package, and then how the board overall approve or disapprove on the overall package. Does that make sense?
yes.
All right, so based on this,
We disapprove.
we basically don't approve
No,
the city of, yes.
no, that's not right.
Yes, that's right.
That's not right. If you approve any part of the plan, then you're going to be approving this conditionally. Based on the condition that you approve this, and this, and that you did not approve this, and this.
Right. But Matt just said approval or
We're
disapproval.
gonna have to go look at the land use portal and see
Okay.
how other people did it.
If I am writing the letter, which I will not, okay? And we have majority of no's. I would say that community board 13 disapproved for the reasons. And we would say
I don't
why.
think we have to give our reasons.
No. I wanna give us our reasons, not for them only. I wanna give our reasons to our elected officials, okay? Why are we disapproving this and this? I wanna give each and every reason.
Do you know how long the community board meeting will
No,
last?
no. We don't have to do it. We don't have to do it. Okay, I'm talking about the final
We
product.
can't make a final thing without sharing it with the entire board.
I understand.
Because the whole board is sending this letter, not just us.
No, I understand. So we're gonna work on it. So what
We'll
are we
work on
voting, and what are we voting now?
Now, how are you gonna put it to, wait,
Yeah,
so how do you
right.
put it to the board next week?
Not next week.
Or to, all right, that's semantics. No, that's not what she's saying. How do you put the motion to the board for them to vote? That we approved or we disapproved?
We are approving and then say which ones we are approving.
We are
of
not
the
approving.
18.
We are not
We
approving
are conditionally approving.
entire proposal? No.
No,
Based on the
can I
conditions,
finish?
some of the
Based on the
proposals are being
condition of
rejected.
some of these
Conditions.
items.
Amelia has her hand raised. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thanks. Really quickly, I wanted to say it's also an option if you wanted to reject with modifications. That way you kind of get the best of both worlds. You can get your rejection in and also kind of, give a more, piece by piece rationale as to why, and which things that you did like and which things that you didn't like, but maintain that you reject the overall proposal.
Okay, that's what I wanna do.
Okay, so we'll reject it with modifications.
Okay,
And I will, Barbara,
emotion.
Easy does it.
Marion is making emotion.
Hands up.
I'm not making a motion on this.
Why?
Easy.
You don't wanna make
Making a
emotion?
motion,
Yes, you're making emotion.
making a
And
motion.
Mike is gonna second the motion because it's a great, it's a great,
Second.
Okay, thank you. You're a wonderful second, Michael. You-
Champ at that.
phase in here.
So I want
I am
to.
making a motion that we reject the city of use of use of new.
City of abuse.
Right.
Tomatoes
18.
and salsa, that's what I'm gonna take away from this.
Tomato and salsa, that's it.
So, no, only if she makes it though. All right.
Conditionally disapproved.
What conditional disapprove? Disapprove with
Modification. Modification.
Okay. No, it's not.
Form. It's the same box you check on the form.
Okay,
I'll tell you.
Okay,
fine. We can only,
no.
No,
We disapprove.
Disapprove.
This modification.
with modifications
On the city of yes.
on the city of Yes for economic opportunity. There are 18 proposals. And after a long and lengthy discussion,
Is it part of the motion?
no.
You don't have
yes,
to put a part of the
No.
motion.
I feel like doing it. You told me to make a motion. He's gonna second whatever I say, so. All right, we have recommendations for proposal 6,
Modification.
modifications for number 6, number 8.
Please don't put it in the motion.
Yes, I have to
Because
put it in the motion.
No, because people gonna get lost.
It's clear.
The thing is, they are lost to begin with. Number 12, number 15, number 16, and number 17.
Well,
I just got one. Let's just give her the list.
No, because I'll need the list.
So, copy of the friggin' thing.
The way she has them.
Okay, the way I have it. Number 6 has with modifications.
No.
Number 8
Right.
with modifications. Number 12 with modifications. Number 15 with modifications. Number 16 and number 17. The rest of them, we either outright oppose
No, that's.
or we have 2 no comments. 1 and 18, we have no comments. That is the most.
You have 3 no.
It's because it's,
Oh, sorry, 1,
because
One,
it's not,
four, and
it's-
8.
it's not like we have no comments because we are a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Because it's not
It does not
applicable.
apply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's NAs.
NA.
It does not,
How about just NA?
NA.
That's what I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's what I'm, that does. All right, that is motion.
What NA said.
That's all I want.
Okay,
Because
let's go.
next time I'm gonna go to your Bible study.
Michael is seconding it.
Seconded.
Whatever you want, he's gonna second.
Okay,
Barbara.
Marion Cleaver.
I should vote less, but yes, that's all right.
Sam Rinkoff.
Yes.
He should vote.
Okay,
Angela
whatever.
I
Kravchenko,
know.
Yes.
Yelena Moffman,
Yes.
Michael Russo,
Yes.
I'm just
Jeffrey
gonna
Fennell.
Yes.
pretending this is Jim.
Pat Singer.
Yes.
Joanne Weiss.
Yes.
Mazel tov and Simon.
Okay, following along with the agenda, I have, I'm considering it old business. All right, at the last community full board meeting.
Excuse me, Marion, with all due respect,
Yes, sir.
I don't recognize your motion. Okay,
Motion.
okay, your new business. I don't recognize your new business. Okay, move forward. If we're gonna end the meeting, anybody, you have anything else to talk about?
I have
Okay,
to talk
let's get
about
to-
what happened at the last
No.
board meeting.
No,
And can I ask why no?
because I'm chair right now and I'm not putting that on the agenda.
We have old business and we have new business on the agenda.
Let him say, that's it, let him say.
Okay, talk.
Okay, talk, Mara.
At the last board meeting, the board voted for Michael's motion. They did not vote for the zoning text amendment.
That's not true.
First of all, no,
Okay.
okay,
True.
Marion, with all
Yes.
due respect, that's the end of it. We're not going to reiterate that. We're not going to relitigate that.
Okay, fine.
Okay? Motion to end the meeting?
I'm doing that one.
I'm not doing that one either.
Pat, second, okay.
No, you gotta be at the owl.
You gotta talk to the owl.
Yelena, you gotta talk to the owl.
Matt,
Okay, it's over.
question. Do you have the very nice lady by name Anna Slavinsky still working for city planning?
That name doesn't ring a bell? No.
Okay, it's somebody else, Vincent Van,
Winston, yeah.
yeah,
No, he's gone.
he's gone,
Winston's
okay.
gone too.
No, because I wanted to ask them
Summer is the new.
who I am, for after 2009, for 2 years, I was an official enemy of city planning. I hope you're not gonna you're not gonna have me on the same SH list.
Ah,
Okay,
I really
Bullet.
appreciate everyone spending their time with us this evening, last month, the month before. This is a lot to go through. I appreciate you all and having honestly having a fun dialogue at times. You all
Yeah.
keep it
Yeah.
light, and so I just want to say I'm in a different board every single night, and oftentimes people are downright mean, they're rude, and you all have treated me with a lot of respect. You ask tough questions, but I just want to thank you for everything that you're doing.
Well,
Okay.
on behalf of the
Yeah.
committee, I thank you very much for your patience.
and for,
I just-
and for a good sense of humor.
Matt, I just want to ask you, I was on a Manhattan Swab meeting last night.
Yes.
Were you too?
No, but I was in Manhattan 4 last night.
Carbon neutrality,
Okay.
okay? And they went through also the 59 community boards. We had the meeting in June. We voted yes for it.
Mhm.
The question I have,
We're done.
the presenter mentioned that
Can't believe it.
out of the 59 boards, about 25 voted yes and 8 voted no. And the other ones were like in between with modifications.
Yep.
When it came to the city council in December, they all voted yes for it. Do you know what the modifications were with that? Because they didn't go over it.
I don't recall offhand, but there is a way to look it up. And Amelia, I'm not sure if there's a way for you to help get the board the information on what changes were made.
Okay.
It would be available in our zoning application portal, Zap, and you'll see the final version. To my understanding, there were a few modifications, but I don't recall offhand what they were. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you. But through any of these processes, there will, of course, be modifications. Well, thank you all. Have a good night.
Housing.
Thank you.
Economic opportunity. What? There's 3 of these, the carbon neutrality, economic opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Housing.
Control that